And we're back with another episode of the Lakers Fast Break Podcast. It's breaking news, everyone. It's Gerald Glassford coming right back at you here on the weekend. And Laker Tom should be a very happy man right about now because the Lakers have gotten someone on a buyout. Yeah, that's right. Marcus Smart is leaving. He's actually negotiated a buyout with the Washington Wizards and is intending to, once he clears waivers, to go to the Los Angeles Lakers on a prearranged 2-year, $11 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. So Laker Tom, who has been fixated on Marcus Smart, now finally doesn't have to worry about trading for him because the Lakers have him. The situation we talked about with also a non-guaranteed contract for Shake Milton, I think that has been decided because in order to go ahead and make room for the 2 years, $11 million, Shake Milton's contract will probably not be guaranteed or will not be guaranteed. But the question remains as far as since the BAE is going to be about, that's going to take most of the BAE or all of the rest of the BAE. More money has to be cleared away, and speculation is out there that unfortunately Jordan Goodwin is most likely the individual that's going to have to be also part of this deal as far as him having only a small guarantee as far as to be paid off and going to have to be let go as well. So Marcus Smart is gone. Marcus Smart is coming in. Shake Milton is gone. Jordan Goodwin also may be gone. So we'll see what happens there. Maybe he'll be given back a two-way, once like what he did last year. So hopefully that'll rectify itself. But yes, Marcus Smart is coming to the Los Angeles Lakers. He intends to sign a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Lakers. I do not know if it's a player option for the second year as of yet. It's not been indicated. But yes, he has Jordan Goodwin of the $2.3 million contract has a very small $25,000 in salary protection. So if you need to clear out the space, unfortunately, Jordan Goodwin might be a part of that as well. But Henry looks like to be happy on that. You guys happy? Absolutely. His numbers last year, a little bit down from previous years. Obviously, his height was when he was with Boston, 14.5 points a game. 11. Well, that was actually a shortened year. His best year was actually 21-22 when he won Defensive Player of the Year and averaged 12 points and 6 rebounds, but obviously providing the defense that the Lakers covet. Does he still have it? He's only 30 years of age, heading into his age 31 years. So hopefully he will still be able to provide a high level of that defensive perimeter defense. So we will see what happens there. So I want to hear your thoughts, guys. Let us know. And his 3-point shooting. You could take into 15 games where he shot almost 40% with Washington as a plus, or you could take the 32% he shot in his 19 games with Memphis as a minus. Your thoughts are as good as mine on that one because, again, he will shoot a lot for the perimeter, so we will have to wait and see. JSJ said, yes, you told me. Yeah. So what does that mean? Does that mean that CJ McCollum and Chris Middleton may be working out buyouts as well? That'll be interesting to see. And would the Lakers be interested in? Well, actually, they can't do that now because they pretty much tied up all their money with Marcus Smart, was whatever they had left. So, no, Tony, we can't. We have to see exactly what. Getting Marcus Smart off of waivers should not dictate whether or not Luka wants to re-sign or not. So let's slow that down a little bit, Tony. Let's slow that down. Obviously, if he's more financially, I guess, incentivized to go ahead and wait a year, that may be the case. But he may be just want to say, hey, I want to go ahead and build with the Lakers now next month. So we'll find out in August. I'm hoping that he will sign. I'm not 100% convinced because we saw what happened with Jokic. So we will have to wait and see. Quakti says, hey, what would you grade the Marcus Smart signing? Well, since it's on the cheap, We'll have to see if it's a team option or a player option or no option at all for the 2-year, $11 million. But I would rate it I'd say a B minus, because remember, he is obviously still able to go ahead and defend on the perimeter. He is not at the defensive player of the year that he once was. It's clear that his time in Memphis, did not endear himself. So that's why he was shipped off to Washington. He did shoot better in Washington, but again, he likes to shoot a lot from behind the arc, and he's not the greatest of shooters. So if he shoots anywhere near 35%, I'm hoping that's going to be the case. We need him to shoot close to 35%. Otherwise, there's going to be a lot of angst among people out there when he shoots behind the arc. If he shoots closer to 32, 31%, which is not going to be that great. But he does handle the ball. We were talking yesterday about how Bronny James was probably best if he not try to concentrate on that end of the spectrum and try to work on just his shooting and his defensive prowess. But then again, he has Marcus Smart. Maybe he'll learn from Marcus Smart and be able to understand what he needs to do and how he needs to go ahead and progress himself in the league by seeing what Marcus Smart does on a daily basis. So I'm hoping that will rub off on him, so to speak. So Todd Packer says Ayton is meh, but Smart is a game changer. Oh, I don't know about game changer. I don't know, Todd, because again, what stage of Marcus Smart's career do you have? I want to be pleasantly surprised by Marcus Smart, because there will be some games where he's playing, his defense will definitively help the Lakers. I won't argue with you on that, but I just want to make sure his offensive side of the ball, because he will be chucking up a lot of shots. If he gets close to 35%, I think it's a big win for the Lakers. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. But again, his shot from the outside will dictate a lot about how much he plays. But yeah, for a pickup on this, it's obviously a very good pickup. Laker Tom is absolutely ecstatic, I'm sure, at this point. And I'm hoping that again, providing a little bit of depth, which is obviously the Lakers need much of, and being able to go ahead and defend on the perimeter. He takes a lot of those two of those things, indeed. Actually, I got this as a gift, Q. I don't know where they got it from, but yeah, I got this as a gift about a year ago. So yes, as far as that's concerned, yeah. But I don't know where they got it from. I'll have to ask Q. Hopefully I'll have that in an upcoming episode. But yes, I'm hoping that he can provide the perimeter defense, a lot of the perimeter defense that the Lakers need. Obviously, that's a big boost for the Lakers there. And again, I'm really hoping that his shot from the outside will be respectable enough so that it will keep him out there and be able to go ahead and help the Lakers moving forward. Especially they could use any type of offensive and defensive boost coming off the bench, and they have that now, hopefully, in Marcus Smart. I know I've talked to Celtics fans before about the frustrations with Smart and how he was gunning a lot from behind the arc, and his success ratio or lack thereof from there. But again, he's going to be playing 20, 25 minutes at the most for the Lakers. So I think that the Lakers need more of his defense, and being able to do that will be able to help with that. S1 says, hey, Gerald, would you trade Vincent and DK for Thibault? No. You know what? Actually, at this point, with DK as bad as it is, I mean, Thibault's a one-way player, S1, so he can't shoot. You shoot better than Thibault. So you are getting a defensive player for the perimeter. I mean, where are you going to get the shooting because with Thibault and with Smart, you don't get shooting traditionally, unless Marcus Smart, as he gets older, hopefully will get better as a shooter. Where do you get the shooting from? Because that's the problem. But then DK can't play because he can't play defense. So you're getting, again, one-way players in Thibault if you do that. But that's a good question. I'll have to think about that one. I know that was also brought out last night. So again, Thibault seems to have his individuals out there that really are in love with him. I'm still figuring out why. I know he plays a pretty good level of defense, but yeah, his offense. It's like having Vando all over again. So you guys trade Vando for another Vando. So that's the problem. Henry said, "What do I make of Luka recruiting him? Obviously, him putting in the good word to Marcus Smart definitely helps the Lakers situation. Obviously, being as a team player, so Q maybe and others maybe hopeful that Luka will be signing an extension in August. Again, I want to see that before he does it. I don't understanding the financial landscape about what if he signs now to what if he signs later. Understanding that, so you don't want to say it's a done deal. Him signing for the extension. I don't want to hold a whole bunch of merit into that. I'm just hoping that he will sign. I will be very pleasantly. I'll be pleased. I'll be pleased if he signs and commits to next month. But yes, it does look like that Luka, as of now, wants to be an active part of the organization. And then obviously the fact that they didn't ask LeBron to do so, according to the reports, kind of says all you need to know about what direction that this organization wants to lean in as far as who they want them talking and being the face of their organization this point forward. But again, we will see. Does this mean that he for sure that he's going to sign in August? I hope it does. I'm not convinced it does because financially it's the best interest to wait. But the goal for him is to get to that 10-year period anyways. When he becomes 10-year tenured and he looks at contracts then to about the high level, his max level becomes a lot more enticing financially. I say once he hits that 10-year mark. So yes, what's their next biggest need? Shooting, Henry, because if you bring in Marcus Smart, you're not bringing him in for shooting. You need shooters. You need somebody to surround Luka and LeBron with shooters. And DK, obviously, from his poor performance in the summer league, is probably not going to fill that role. At least it's going to take a lot of rehab to go ahead and build that right away. But because who do you have coming off the bench now? That since if you don't have faith in DK, that's coming off the bench as a shooter and a scorer. They need scoring options coming off that bench. Because remember, Henry, they had the second lowest scoring bench in the entire NBA, and Marcus Smart had a career. What has he got? He is a career 10-point a game scorer. He's not going to give that an outstanding boost or anything like that. He's more for the defensive part of the game, so we'll see. Someone said Thibault, if for his career is 34% from three, his career way better than Vando. Thibault, someone is not an offensive individual. So defensively, no one questions his defensive ability. But man, your guys' fixation on Thibault is really kind of concerning because Thibault has played himself out of several situations so far in the league. So I don't know. You guys seem to be more in love with Matisse Thibault than I am. And I just think at this point in time, you guys got to slow down on the Matisse Thibault stuff. But yeah, if you want to go ahead and trade for him, absolutely. I mean, obviously provides a great defensive spot. He did shoot 43% from 3 in 15 games last year. So if he can carry that consistently going forward, hopefully that will help. But yeah, he has been all over the place on his 3-point shooting, but scoring, he has never been counted on to do much. So again, you're essentially still getting a one-way player in Matisse Thybulle. I don't know why you guys are so fixated on Matisse Thybulle. It just concerns me. But again, as a defensive player, I will not question his ability at all. I just think a corner shooter, he would be yet someone he just as an offensive player, he scares no one. He's never averaged more. Never now, mind you, he's never been. Only once has he really been given the opportunity to play extended minutes, and that was when he was in Philadelphia playing 25 and a half minutes a game. He was just outside the top 10 in Defensive Player of the Year voting, but he only scored 5.7 points a game. So again, you're still essentially getting a one-way player in Matisse Thybulle, but again, his defense, I will not question his defense at all. Will you play Ghost of Yeti when it comes out? Yes, Henry. I don't have a PS5. I never found a game that I wanted to get a PS5 for yet. Ghost of Yeti is going to be good. Hoping that my friends that'll be on the shows and will speak well about it. Maybe I get it on PC, Henry. If that's the case, I may get it on PC. And when it comes out to PC, because PlayStation is actually trending towards the PC marketplace as far as additional revenue. So Ghost of Yeti hopefully will come out PC, and I will probably try to give it a chance on that one. Adam says, I'm not a fan of Smart, but he's about the same as Gabe offensively and better defensively. Bad pickup, though. Again, Adam, what he does, though, again, like Gabe, he can play the one. He can play the two. He can play off ball or on ball. It's just the shooting. Yeah. Which at this stage of career, what kind of shooter is he? Because he likes to chuck it up. He likes to chuck up a lot of threes. Is the question, can he shoot make at least 35%? I'm not asking for 40. I'm not asking for 37. I'm asking if he can just shoot at a 35% level. If he could do that, that's a big win for the Lakers. Enrique says it's a good pickup. For 2 years, $11 million. Again, we don't know if it's a player option on the second year or a team option on the second year. I think it's decent. Absolutely. You got to look at it. I give it about a B. I give it a B. I mean, on the pickup, yeah. But the thing is, if we lose Goodwin, a guy that's coming in who really took advantage of his opportunity with the Lakers, and the Lakers have to waive him, they're already not going ahead to renew the contract of Shake Milton, which I don't think anybody's really cares about. But the Goodwin deal, if Goodwin has to be given up in place of that, or maybe move back to a two-way or what have you, that's going to be a little bit disappointing, because I think he really tried to make a good impression with us Lakers fans. Can I give Rob credit now that this used no assets and got Aiton Laravia and Smart for washed DFS? Oh, I don't know if he's washed, legend. That's DFS. DFS guarded at probably that was the best Lakers defender last season. I don't want to give Rob credit now. I want to see the product on the floor. So before you give Rob credit, let's see this product on the floor before you start giving Rob all the kudos as of yet. So again, this still isn't a team that doesn't match up even with Marcus Smart, as well as the top three in the Western Conference. I don't still have them in the middle of the pack in the Western Conference right now. This is not a game changer. I know somebody in the in the chat called this a game changer. I don't think it's a game changer personally. I think it's a good pickup. It helps the added depth. The Lakers still need more depth as far as on the front line. They also need shooters because they don't have a great array of shooters. It's people that can knock down 40% of their shots. We don't know that the situation behind Dalton Connect. We don't know what Dalton Connect you're getting this time forward. How messed up he is? If that's the case, Rui Hachimura. And then, I don't know, LeBron James, is he going to be 40% or not this year? Rui Hachimura is your only consistent shooter from the outside. Luka and Austin are 35, 36% shooters right now. So that's the problem. And that means he says, better hope Smart isn't washed. I mean, his career started to go in the wrong direction. Memphis, who traded for him, thought so well of him that they sent him to Washington, which again brings up the question if Washington is now open to buyouts, because remember, they may have as much as $100 million for next year available to them, because CJ McCollum also comes off the plan, and Chris Middleton. Because Chris Middleton now going to go ahead and ask for a buyout? Is CJ McCollum going to ask for a buyout? Kind of interesting if that's the case, because Marcus Smart did. So yeah, my off-season grade for right now, I'd probably say it's a B minus. That I was in the C range, Henry. So I'd say this pickup puts it in the B minus range for me, Henry. Right around there, maybe B. But the Lakers still haven't addressed. They're really getting some depth. That they're maybe 6-7 deep now at this point, because Jake LaRavia, we don't know what kind of player he's going to be yet. So, I mean, LaRavia did well last year, but was really bad the last 2 years. This is his time to go ahead and really figure out whether or not he's going to be a good player and a player you can play in your rotation or not. We'll have to wait and see for him. They're paying him like he's going to be a rotation player, so he better live up to that. But again, we've had situations before, guys, where we got in guys, Kendrick Nunn, also as well, Gabe Vincent, where we got guys in on these free agent contracts or picked them up as buyouts, and they haven't panned out. So I want to see this product on the floor before you give. And you guys should all just wait before you give Rob these kudos and whatnot, because again, is DeAndre Ayton going to be in the right mindset? You think he would be, based off the fact that a lot of money is riding on it for him next summer. Jake LaRavia, same thing. You know, his future, his career is riding on a good performance for him. So you're hoping, he'll take advantage of it. And same thing with Marcus Smart. Can he rehabilitate his career with a good performance as a six-man type of role playing coming off the bench for the Los Angeles Lakers? We'll have to wait and see. Steve said also Memphis wanted anything to do with Marcus production, but we will see. Again, he didn't endear himself in Memphis, Steve, so that's what concerns me. But again, getting him on a relatively low contract, it's another situation. Even if it's a player option or a team option or no option at all for a 2-year, $11 million deal at this point in time, it's another situation where it's a buy low, possibly sell high. It's a low risk, high reward potential again for the Lakers. And again, that's 3 low risk, high reward potential type things and type offerings in what you have with Marcus Smart, DeAndre Ayton, and Jake LaRavia. And let's hope all 3 pay off. All 3 pays off, then you've got to credit Rob Pelinka for doing it. And I will be the first to do so. But we will have to see what kind of product it puts out there on the court. Because again, Denver loaded up this offseason. Houston with the Kevin Durant trade and also loaded up more with their front line with DFS. I don't think DFS is washed. So I love how as soon as they leave the Lakers, they're washed. I thought that was a funny comment you guys put there online. That cracks me up. Isaac says, any trades on the horizon? Well, I didn't think this Marcus Smart thing would happen so soon. I thought they would wait till after February if they couldn't unload his contract. Then Washington would buy him out, and also Middleton and CJ. So who knows? There could be, Isaac. But what would they want to do? Do they want to go ahead and try to move Gabe? Do they want to try to move Kleber as expiring contracts, which again are very valuable to other teams, but they're also valuable for the Lakers, who are projecting, quite a bit of money in the summer of 2026 and 2027, despite, let's say they keep Smart and LaRavia for their second year of their contracts and Ayton for the second year of contracts. The Lakers should still have tens of millions of dollars. Well, LeBron comes off the books. Gabe comes off the books. Kleber comes off the books. Those guys, Rui and Reeves come off the books as well. So that's a lot of money they can have in free agency if they're not able to retain Rui and Reeves for the long term. Someone would say I would still love Amir or Melton. Yeah, I think that would be great. So someone, if the Lakers lose Goodwin and he has to be let go because of it, because he has a very small $25,000, I guess, protection. I guess if they waive him, yes, getting Amir Coffey or De'Anthony Melton would make me feel a lot better. Joe Soro, can you admit Lakers GM said, can you admit we are championship contenders now? Well, we're always championship contenders with Luka and LeBron, but I still, again, would not put them in the top 3 in the Western Conference just because of Marcus Smart. You're kidding yourself if Marcus Smart is actually, you think the difference between the Lakers being in the top 3 and not the top 3. He is an added piece that helps your bench, but still, the Lakers still have a lot of problems and a lot of issues as far as what do you do after player number 7. Jackson Hayes would be your guy. You saw what happens with the Jackson Hayes type of deal. Again, Jackson Hayes in limited number of minutes is okay, but you could have better options out there, or could have had better options out there than Jackson Hayes. And we've already gone through the Jackson Hayes experience twice. and see what happens there. But again, the bench still needs to be bolstered even more. And shooting. What do you do about shooting? Because again, Rui is the only 40% shooter you can really count on. I mean, LeBron, if he's on one of his good years, it is close to 40% from term three, which he might be doing. He might seriously do that. But then again, Luka's 36 at high volume. Austin's 35, 36% at high volume. Smart is going to be chucking up threes. Now, you hope he could chuck up threes at 35% because that is on the good side for him. But we'll see. But after that, I mean, that's what we need. We need shooters and some depth. Yes, Joe Soro is mobile. I know he had said he was in San Diego, so I believe he's coming back from them. So I would still move. Well, Steve, they may have Goodwin may be gone anyways. Again, because the fact that they would, based off the 2-year 11 million BAE that they're going ahead and cover this under. I think that the sacrifice is Goodwin. Of course, Shake Milton, he will not be guaranteed, so he is now a free agent. But I believe in order to cover the money, most reports have Jordan Goodwin as the most likely victim of that as well. But yes, we do need bench production. And Marcus Smart, again, his career average is 10 points a game. It's a little bit of a boost offensively, but obviously he's there more for defensive and perimeter, which is something that we have desperately need. And I've talked about the show ad nauseum. Perimeter defense is a key, and Marcus Smart, even if he's on the downside of his career, it is still a big win for the Lakers because of the fact that he, perimeter defensive wise, is something he can do. He can guard ones and twos. So there you go. So the Lakers are going to have another spot open, most likely someone, but I don't know how much money they will have. If they let go of Jordan Goodwin, they will have another spot available, but how much money they will have, how close to the tax will they be? We'll have to wait and see it when the dust settles to get a actual true number on how much the Lakers will have. Because I think that's what Bobby Marks is even saying. There's several other individuals saying that that's probably what they'll have to lean into. Bobby Marks is saying the Lakers are $900,000 below the first apron and will need to clear out salary in order to use the 5.1 biannual exception. The $3 million salary of Shake Milton is set to become guaranteed on Sunday. So yes, it most likely looks like that's only 900,000, 3 million. So in order to use the $5.1 million biannual exception to get Marcus Smart here on a 2-year, $11 million deal, the Lakers would have to cut additional salary. And it looks like Jordan Goodwin would probably have to be that individual. Again, I don't know that for sure. The reports have not confirmed that, but again, it's the dots are not pointing in his favor, and I'll just leave it at that. Joe Soros says nobody can guard Luka. You are underestimating how good we are as the number 3 seed with Hayes as our center. No, I'm not underestimating Joe. I watch these games. I'll watch every game for the Lakers. I understand if Luka has an MVP type season, he can carry the Lakers to that point where you're talking about, but he has to have that type of deal. But the thing is, how much work will he do in the regular season? Will that tire him out in the postseason? And same thing for LeBron. Is LeBron going to have to play extended minutes again because there's not a whole lot of depth behind him as far as individuals that can come in and score the basketball? That's what we'll have to wait and see. Again, this is not a perfect team. Marcus Smart does not make this a perfect team. It does help substantially the perimeter defense, but there are still things that you need to address in order for this team to go ahead forward. They may still have a really, really good regular season. I said that this team, again, I thought we were going to be around 45, 47, 48 wins. I didn't think they were going to take a far step back on the wins monitor, but I still, seeing what the playoffs, if the playoffs were to start today with the lineups that they start today, I think, again, you got to make sure Luka and LeBron don't play extended minutes like they did leading up to the playoffs. And do you have a bench that can support that? Do you have shooters around them in the playoffs that are going to hit clutch shots? Those are questions you got to ask yourself. So before you say that, I think you're overestimating their needs. But again, if they're more to, I want them to be more like what you see them than what I see them. And that's the thing. I want them to be at a top level. I want them to be the point where in February they're number one or number two in the Western Conference. I want them to be that, so where they have to make more trades to win now. Because Joe and I talked about that. If they're in a situation where they're number one or number two in the Western Conference, they will make moves that may undercut that future that they so are beholden to with 26 or 27, leaving that open. And if that's the case, that will only make them a better team. So I'm hoping for your I guess scenario, Joe, or more than my scenario as far as what I think the Lakers are still at. But I do think this is a benefit. I do think this is a plus, especially from the perimeter defense. It's just how much offense off the bench will he give you? How much offense will they be getting off the bench? Because I do think it's imperative that this bench get better, because asking a 41-year-old LeBron James to be playing extended minutes again, 33, 34 minutes, and averaging that a game again is not wise. And Luka, MVP season or not, you still want to keep him. I would love to see him around 32 minutes heading into the playoffs. That would be ideal. Yeah, but again, I already, seeing the Lakers landscape and what they need from him and how much important and vital he is for the team. Obviously, you're going to try to play him at enough of a level where they need to him out there. So I'm hoping he'll be in shape throughout the season and be physically ready to go once the playoffs begin. Because again, if you have LeBron and Luka healthy and in shape and ready to go, you never know. You never know what's going to happen. They can be competitive in any series that they're in. Steve says, once this bench is addressed and complete, and the Lakers in the playoffs can actually have shooting production, then we could talk about Rob. Yes, I agree. More truth. Yeah, let's see the product out there on the court. Let's see where they compete in a very tough Western Conference before we throw all the flowers to Rob. This is a nice move. Absolutely a nice move. I will not say that wrong. Getting Marcus Smart, and obviously Laker Tom at 80 plus years old is probably doing backflips somewhere and probably doing cartwheels somewhere right now, because this is who he's been enamored with for quite some time. So I'm glad and I'm happy for him more than anyone else. I am happy for him most of all, because he has pushed for this for weeks now. So finally, one of his man crushes per se, he is long sought after, finally comes true, because Miles Turner and Buddy Hield did not come, and he had a man crush on those guys for the longest time. So I'm glad Marcus Smart is finally coming to Los Angeles for him. Yes, yeah, exactly. I want to see how it performs. I want to put the cart in front of the horse. You guys, and that's what fans do. It's not just Lakers fans. It's just sports fans in general. When we get an acquisition, how do we think it's going to fit? How do we believe it's going to fit? Sometimes we have a tendency to put the cart in front of the horse, but I'm hoping you guys are right. I'm hoping you guys will be right as far as Luka having an MVP season and carrying this team to a top 3 seed once again heading into the playoffs, because that's very advantageous for you normally. Now, the Lakers, again, did a lot of work in getting to that 50 wins at third seed. It led to the Lakers being able to just tired because they just didn't have that depth. You saw what happened when you don't have that depth, as the Lakers didn't. JJ had no options to go to in the playoffs outside the starting 5, which again, obviously has been addressed to a little bit with perimeter defense with Marcus Smart and getting DeAndre Ayton. And those guys have to produce, because their rest of their careers are riding on it. So let's just hope that Jake LaRavia got the message. Let's hope that DeAndre Ayton got the message, and let's hope Marcus Smart got the message at this point in their lives, because with Jake LaRavia, this is all about the potential he could give a team going forward, and get, all 3 of those guys are going to be playing for longer contracts. And in order to do so, they have to provide big seasons for the Lakers. And if that's the case, and they do, that means good things for the Lakers. So I'm really hoping that that's going to be the case. But I do want to see the product out there on the court before you throw all the flowers around. But this is a good move. Marcus Smart is an upgrade over Jordan Goodwin. I'm just sad to see if that's going to be the case, and Jordan Goodwin has to be released because of it. Because he worked so hard to get a regular contract, and then obviously to have it taken away. I mean, if you're in his situation, you've got to be bummed right now because you were on the verge of going to camp with a fully guaranteed contract, and now that's a lot of that is in question. Martin says, great pickup in your opinion. Lakers just need one more 3D wing, one more defensive center, one more of this, one more of that. Luka and Luka, it's better than all three of them on the floor together. One still has to go. Martin, again, the Austin Reeves situation, how will that play itself out? That's a good question. Austin Reeves, again, will be a free agent, or he will most likely waive the last year of his contract to become a free agent in the 2026. What is that? The options. Will Austin Reeves stay on the Lakers? Will they opt to trade him at some point in time in the season at the trading deadline? Those are things you got to ask yourself, because again, the two timeline thing about the Lakers being able to go ahead and have open cap space for 26 and 27 again will be very much in question. JK says the Lakers and their championship roster. Yeah, again, I'm not putting anything on this to roster as far as a championship. I'm not going to put that on them yet. I'm not going to anoint them a championship. They're always a championship contender with Luka and LeBron. You've got a healthy Luka and LeBron. You're in the conversation as a champion. It's just how high do you want to put them at this point in time? Some people put them higher, and I applaud them for it. I applaud you guys that are really positive on this, thinking that this is going to be a key for the Lakers run. And I really, really applaud you guys for that. I can't put them there yet because I still think there's things that are going to be addressed. I think there are better roster fits. There are better full rosters for an 82-game season than I think what the Lakers have. But this gets them a little bit closer. This gets them a little bit better, in my opinion. So I'm really happy for that. Someone says, hopefully the Lakers can get off of Vando's contract. Yeah, you and I both. And of course, we all know how Joe feels on that one. Joe is, like me, not the biggest Vando individual. I know that Empire Jeff TV and also as well Jamie Sweet are Vando supporters. They're on Vando Hill. Yeah, I got off Vandell Hill a long time ago. 805. So yeah, great. If you could get a player like that, 805, who is 3 years away, 3 years removed from being Defensive Player of the Year. Yeah, obviously. And he's still 30, 31. Let me check for his exact age, because he did play in his third year, but I think he's 31. Let me ask on that. Look real quickly if he's 30 or 31. I want to make sure I clarify that. So, and we will go ahead and bring that up right now. 31 years. So yeah, he's 31 years of age. He was born in March. So again, still has a lot to give. And again, he'll be playing for his career going forward with a good season with the Lakers, hopefully. And JK says Smart will average you 5 points a game if you're lucky. That's the problem, JK. That could be very well a problem. If he reverts back to the 32% shooter that he has been at times during the course of his career, that could be a problem. Like in Memphis, he was a 32% shooter. In Washington, he was a 40% shooter. So we'll see. Memphis, he was 23-24. He was a 31% shooter. Boston, he was 33, 33, 33, 34, almost 35. 36. That was a great year for him in 2018, 2019. 27, 2018, he was 30%. And then it was 28, 25, and 33. So again, he's not the greatest shooter in the world, but he likes to chuck up. Seeing his volume, he does like to chuck up the three now and then. So if he's shooting it at 35%, I will take that. I will take 35%. I'm not asking for 40. I'm not asking for 37. If he makes 35% of his threes, that's respectable. That's right around what Luka and Austin are shooting, and I would be happy with that because he's playing the perimeter defense. Yeah, he struggled last year with Memphis. That's why Memphis kicked him out, because he was struggling. JK, it depends on how much you want to take hold of his time in Washington, where he shot almost 40%. Do you take any stock into that? It's a very small sample size in Washington. So again, you take that for what it's worth. Something says easily, hi guys, after media have been disrespecting Kobe. We don't disrespect Kobe here on this show, on this channel. At least we try not to. Absolutely. I mean, you're always entitled to your opinion on Kobe, but Kobe's one of the greatest players of all time, in my opinion. And rest in peace, Kobe. And we will always remember the great things that he did for us as Lakers fans. But hopefully, if you're here and you're new here, you'll like and subscribe. We come on here between usually 5 to 7 times a week on a busy week. As it gets slower, we may just slow down to 3 to 5. But we'll always try to provide you some good stuff here over the coming weeks and months, even in the boring times, because Summer League is coming down to a close. But the news came down today that Marcus Smart is headed to the Lakers after getting bought out. But the question I have for you guys, does this mean that Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum could be on the move? Would the Lakers, I don't think the Lakers could actually afford it at this point, because we talked about their cap situation by signing Smart. But do you think that this means that McCollum and or Middleton will be asking for a buyout soon? You never know. You never know. But yes, LeBron is a great human. Well, yeah, LeBron's never been involved in any of that stuff. I know the Diddy stuff came down and all that, but again, LeBron has been a great family man. Nobody should question LeBron as a family man. We have never questioned LeBron as a family man on the show. Where Joe's had a lot of issues and that I could not defend anymore was the passive aggressiveness on the social media. Just say what you mean. Sometimes just no, I don't need signs. I don't need hourglasses. I don't need, when you wearing Knicks colors, all that stuff, or having not Chris Paul, but, Rich Paul give you those statements and, out there. Just say, if you want to be traded, go. If you want to stay a Laker, just say you want to stay a Laker. I'm happy to be a Laker. Done. Let's end this. The noise. I think it's just so hard to defend the noise, because LeBron is one of the greatest players of all time. Absolutely no question about it. But there you go. Have faith. No, CMB, I've been watching the sport since 77. I cannot do faith. I have to do what is real and what you project to be real, what you analyze. I've told you from the get-go, CMB, I see things like a NBA GM, an NBA executive. I like to see things as the way they are and the way you project them to be. I can't have blind faith in certain things just because of a Lakers name, Lakers IP, the Lakers tax, the Lakers hate, all those things that come into play. I have to see the Lakers for what they are as an NBA team. I mean, because a lot of fans, they go by faith, and more power to them. If you want to go by that and the belief and faith, absolutely, more power to you on that. I will always respect you for that. But I have to go by what I see and what my experience tells me about the game of basketball. That's what I have to provide you guys. Because remember, CMB, I am been on this channel since 2019. We are over 600,000 views on this channel. So you have to provide an audience with your honest opinion and analysis to provide them what you think is the best analysis and opinion of whatever it is the Lakers. So I can't honestly go by faith. I have to give people what I go by as far as what I see and what I analyze as an individual. Did I predict the Pacers to make the finals? No, I didn't. Actually, I predicted the Sixers, to be quite honest with you. I predicted OKC and Sixers in the finals. So I got 1 out of 2 right. The Sixers, had they been healthy going into, that would have been a killer lineup. In fact, even if it all goes healthy for Philadelphia this year, it looks like a killer lineup, but I ain't touching that one as far as Philadelphia. There's no way that you could tell me Embiid will be healthy for a full season ever again after what happened last season. No, that burdened me once last year, CMB, and there you go. CMB says every team has holes, Gerald, but it's the superstar's job to overcome those issues. No team is dominant, perfect in the NBA right now. But again, CMB, you're forgetting the thing about, yes, superstars do have to overcome a lot of obstacles and overcome deficiencies with other parts, but it's still a team game. You still at some point have to depend on the team to make plays that will get you over the top. And do the Lakers have enough people in the right spots to make the plays? Right now, again, analyzing it, I do not see it as the Lakers as a top 3 seed in the regular season. Now, come the playoffs, if the Lakers are healthy and they have enough rest, i.e., they're not overloading Luka and LeBron with enough minutes, anything is possible. I have always said that Luka and LeBron in a playoff series, anything can happen. But yeah, I still can't make them a favorite in the Western Conference simply because of the fact that they've added Marcus Smart. If you are seeing how Marcus Smart's career has gone, more power to you on that. JK says Bronny is only in the league to keep LeBron's name relevant even after retiring. He's on a 3-year guaranteed contract with a team option for the 4th, JK. So you tell me on that one. Maybe Bronny. And this is something, again, I mentioned it earlier in the show. It bears repeating that, Bronny is there on a guaranteed contract. Marcus Smart comes in there and has a game that maybe Bronny can aspire to become, because he can emulate some of those things that maybe Marcus Smart has already done in the league. So maybe Marcus can take him under his wing and be able to help him, elevate him to where he can, get to the point where he can become a regular rotation player. We'll see. I mean, just by the sheer fact, I was talking yesterday before the Marcus Smart signing and saying that, whatever we think of Bronny, the bench was just not to the point where it was just so inept where at some point in time, JJ is going to give Bronny some run. It was just inevitable. And if there's any injuries, still, this bench still has weaknesses where Bronny, whether you like it or I like it or don't like it, it doesn't matter. At some point, Bronny may get some run from JJ during the course of the season, and it's up to him to take advantage of it if it does. Kurt Ferris says Laker Tom is vindicated. Well, again, Kurt, he finally has one of his man crushes on this roster. So if he comes on the show, or if he does the Lakerholics, and Marcus Smart is not the Marcus Smart we hope to be, I'm sure. I'm sure a lot of people on Twitter. If you look at his Twitter, at Laker Tom on Twitter over the past few weeks with Marcus Smart and all the crazy trades he was trying to do to get Marcus Smart, yeah, well, I'm sure they'll let him know. But yes, Tom says Tom is in pure bliss. Yes, he is, and I'm happy for him. I'm really happy. We all gotta love Tom. Over 80 years old and still doing this on a regular basis, still out there blogging as much as he is. More power to him. And he has got to be happy, man. I'm happy for him. 805 says Lakers offseason has been pretty good. It's been good. Is it enough to put them ahead of teams like, what you say is OKC, of course, Houston, Denver? The Clippers have had a pretty good offseason as well. They filled a lot of holes and needs as well. I mean, I think the Beal signing is better than the Smart signing, because with Beal signing, you fill a need at starting shooting guard. But still, getting Smart on the cheap is still a very good signing indeed. So, yes. Kurt Ferris said Laker Tom passed out in front of his laptop after 3 Cokes. Kurt, you're sure. 805 says we've had a B+ season. I would put a B minus, but I'll give it a B. How about that, 805? For you guys, I'll give it a B off season. 805 says I think OKC is the clear number 1. I say if they get an injury at the right place, that it might be a little bit problematic, 805. But yeah, you still have to make the favorite. How can you not make them the favorite? But Houston and Denver has loaded up in the offseason as well. I think they've had better off seasons than the Lakers and the Clippers, but we'll wait and see. It's going to be a very loaded West, guys. And you've got those 5 teams that I've mentioned. We haven't even talked about Minnesota, which retained 2 of its 3 guys. The key for them is those 2 second-year players, Terrence Shannon and Rob Dillingham. If those 2 guys, those 2 first-round picks, meet their potential, then things get interesting in Minnesota as far as what they need to do to replace Nah. San Antonio, are they ready to take that next step with Wembanyama? If Wembanyama has an MVP-like season, how far? We talked about Luka, how much the team he has to carry on his back. What does that leave with Wembanyama if he has an MVP video game numbers like season? That could be scary out there, and they still have issues that they need to address as far as their shooting and their forward positions as well. What about Dallas? I understand Dallas, they're all waiting in Kyrie mode, but is their front line, their stacked, front line, is that going to be enough to get them in a position where they're in that conversation when Kyrie comes back? So that's a situation we have to talk about with Dallas. Those guys, those are teams, that's what, 8 teams right there I discussed right there. So the New Orleans, Sacramento, Phoenixes of the world, where does that leave them? That leaves them on the out right now. But again, there could be a surprise team in the West as well. Kurt Ferris says, with Smart and Goodwin, does this mean we can turn Gabe into another piece? I hope it does, Kurt. But again, it all comes down to, does Rob want to keep those expiring contracts on his books? I think what he might do is he might wait to see how this team is during the regular season and then make those adjustments accordingly. Because if the Lakers, again, are a top 3 seed in the Western Conference come February, I think he has to seriously start looking at jettisoning those expired contracts to help build that roster, because there'll be teams by February that will not be looking, that will want. Subscriber. Thank you, Regal, for subscribing. Truly appreciate it. There will be teams in February, as there always is. There will be teams in February who are looking to go ahead and looking towards next season and seasons beyond. So they'll be coveting even more those precious expiring contracts that we see in, of course, Maxi Kleber, of course, Gabe Vincent, Rui Hashimura, Austin Reeves, and the like. So yeah, Soro cannot get on. He's traveling. He's coming back from San Diego. So I do not want him getting on, or unless he pulls over to the curb, because I want him driving safely, because Joe is not the guy to be on, that you want to road rage with out there. So yeah, that's too loud in the vehicle. See, there you go. Too loud in the vehicle. Yeah. Let Joe drive safely from San Diego, and we'll see. But Joe was happy. I can tell you firsthand, Joe was happy in what I read on his WhatsApp comments. So he looks like he was happy. I'm happy too. This obviously it's an upgrade for the Lakers, and on the defensive end, perimeter defense, this cures some of those ills, because even on the downside, if you say that he's on the downside of his career after his defensive player of the year, it is still he's still probably just by being who he is, he's probably the best defender on the Lakers roster as of now. CMB says, get your butler in the back to answer. Okay, all right. 805 says Clay is going to be rejuvenated after summer with Megan These time. That's up to him, and that's up to you guys on that one, because I don't want to touch that one at all. 805, but yeah, it's really funny. Dallas has Max Christie too. Again, 805. He had his chance as a starting guard last year. He came into the Dallas, was on fire. They put him in the starting lineup. He cooled off quite considerably. I still think he's a rotational piece for them, but he's still young and can still develop. So maybe he can become that starting guard that they're hopefully needing. But we'll have to wait and see. I'm not convinced of it, but I think he can and should be a rotational piece on that team going forward. CMB says Joe needs to be chauffeured like Bruce Wayne. Well, maybe you can get that out of his Sin Blades budget. We'll have to wait and see. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The news is, what's up, Legend 350? How you doing, my friend? It is, of course, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this. We truly appreciate you joining us. The breaking news is that Marcus Smart has asked for a buyout, gotten a buyout with the Washington Wizards, and is expected to sign a 2-year, $11 million contract. We don't know the status on the second year, if it's guaranteed player or team option yet. We'll have to wait and see, but it is going to be a 2-year, $11 million deal that he'll be able to go ahead and come to the Lakers once he clears waivers. So I don't think anybody is picking up that contract. So there you go. Joe Soros is hop on, trying to get anybody to hop on at this point. But again, it is, of course, the Lakers fast break. The Legend 350 says the West is brutal. I agree with you. OKC is the clear number one, no doubt about it. They're young and only going to get better, which can be certain. Because again, even if you don't have faith that the OKC Thunder is definitively above the other teams in the Western Conference, no matter how much they loaded up, they have a myriad of assets to go ahead and, let's say, get a piece or multiple pieces that they need. That's the great job that Sam Presti has done. I mean, whether you hate or love the OKC Thunder, you've got to appreciate the job Sam Presti has done, from what he built, what he let go, to how he's rebuilt this team to a championship winning team with a myriad of assets going forward. It's like, I use the phrase cake and eat it too. He has his cake, and he gets to still continue to go ahead and have a team that could be playing at a high level, at a championship level, going forward throughout the rest of this decade. That is a very enviable position. They don't have many things to worry about. Even if they suffer injuries, if they still want to compete at a championship level, they have a myriad of assets they could trade just like that in order to get someone at a high level if they were to become available. Jay says the Lakers need dogs, not just Smart. Smart is a dog. I will give him that. And again, he comes onto the team immediately as the Lakers' best defender. So we'll have to wait and see. Diehard Lakers fans is Lakers climbing the free agent rankings. This obviously is a good pickup for them. Again, I think it's put them in the situation where they could be talked about even more as a fringe championship contender, someone that can be talked about. They're always, with Luka and LeBron healthy, you have to put them in the conversation as far as a championship contender. But this makes it even a little bit closer. But again, the shooting should still be of concern for people, and the depth of this team, because I don't know if we'll see how Jake LaRavia plays with the Lakers, but I think the Lakers. The question is, how will he play? Will he play like his last year or the 2 years before? We'll have to wait and see. But Marcus Smart, even if he doesn't give you what you need on offense, defensively, again, he comes in immediately as the Lakers' best defender on the team. I would put him ahead of Vando already. Even at this stage of his career, I would still put him ahead of Vando as the Lakers' best defender. And we'll wait and see. But if that's the case, you got a little bit deeper, but you still have to get even deeper. And then the shooting for the Lakers, again, if you could get another close to 40% shooter that could play defense, I agree. Having an athletic 3-and-D player would be absolutely just outstanding right now. 805 says Lakers projected lineup: Smart, Reeves, Luka, LeBron, Aiden. Ooh, so you would put Rui on the bench. I would have Rui starting. Rui has played well as a starter. I don't think that you should put Smart ahead of him. I think Smart should be your sixth man coming off the bench, personally, at this point. Reeves in a perfect situation would be my sixth man coming off the bench, but where there's a lot of money on the line next summer, he will not want to be a sixth man. So especially Rui too, for that matter. Rui's got a lot of money on the line coming next summer. So, and to an extent, lesser extent also as well, Marcus Smart. I mean, if that's a player option in the second year, that ultimately we find out, that means he'll be playing for a new contract as well. But I would personally have Smart as my first man coming off the bench. Diehard says bench Reeves. Again, a lot of money on him riding on it, Diehard. So I think there's a lot of pressure to have him continue to start. So I don't see him losing his starting position. And Rui, the way he's played as a starter, I don't think he should be benched for Smart at this point in time. Not yet. Let's see how it plays itself out in exhibition and training camp. Maybe I'll change my mind on that. But Rui played with a lot of heart in the playoffs. Was one of the few individuals to do so. So I really don't want to go ahead and just say, Rui, we play with a lot of heart. You scored 15 to 17 points a game for us. You're shooting 40%. He's only true 40% shooter that you have on the team, because LeBron is 40% one year. He's not. Yeah. Rivas the bench is what I would want. Joe Soro on a championship team, if it's a perfect team, Joe Soro, Lakers GM. Joe and I have said that Reeves would be in a perfect world, Reeves would be off the bench for us. But again, a lot of money is riding on the line for him, and I don't see you sweet talking him at this stage of his career going back to the bench. What if our bench points can come from Reeves? Again, Joe Soro, you have that conversation with him with possibly tens of millions of dollars riding on the line because of it. Because if he goes back to the bench, he is not going to be making or not going to be getting the chance to make as much money in the off season next season. So from a purely financial standpoint, I'm not talking about wins and losses for him. I'm talking from a purely financial standpoint. If I was his agent, I would say it's not in his best interest to go back to the bench. That's just my deal. So on that, would I like him to be back on the bench? Yes, I would love him to be a sixth man coming off the bench. But again, a lot of money he would be sacrificing for that, because unless you're able to play him in a way where he's still able to get his 25 and 5 coming off the bench, which is really hard to do. 805 again. I think a lot of us agree on that, but we'd have to wait and see. Yeah, 805. Remember, Houston paid they played after he was off the bench in OKC. Yeah, that's again that was one situation. There are very few situations like that, 805, that have worked out for a bench player like that. You have to understand that, and getting and if he were to lose his starting spot to a player you got off of as waivers that is not playing at the peak of his career, I just don't know how he would be seeing it. I saw him on Monday night eating popcorn. He was happy, talking to the guys, seemed very content, obviously knowing what the work he's got to put in instead. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I don't know about that. I don't know about that, 805. I don't know about that for him, if that's the case. Again, what's best for the team would be him coming off the sixth man. What's best for him would be starting, because the odds of him following that same path as Harden, you're talking about one instance. Schroeder is another instance, I guess, because he did find some success after being a sixth man at OKC, but those are instances where Naz Reid is another instance like that. But even he was limited because he didn't sign for above 30. He saw what he signed for. So again, bench players, I think, have a ceiling right now in the NBA, especially with the salary cap. The salary cap was different in the days of James Harden when he was moving on to Houston. So you'll have to put that in perspective as well. I just think, again, if I'm his agent, I would not be liking it at all. And then guess what? I'm communicating that to my client. But again, I would agree with you, 805, that the best option would be in a perfect world on a perfect team for him to be a sixth man to come off the bench. That's my opinion as well. Jalen says we got Marcus Smart. Yes, and you're laughing. Again, Marcus Smart to some, and I think they see the offensive side of things, and I get that because offensively it hasn't always been pretty with Marcus Smart. I don't know. Again, I'm hoping if he shoots 35% from three, I would be ecstatic. I would be ecstatic, guys, because that's what you hope for. And last year, he shot 39% in very limited sample size from Washington, and he shot 31 from Memphis in a very limited sample size, which got him out of Memphis. But the year before that, when he played a full season with Memphis, actually, no, he didn't play a full season. He got hurt, so he only played 20 games. That's also a question. What is his health going to be like? Because he only played 34 games last season and 20 games the season before. So you'll have to wait and see, how his health will be over the course of the season as well. I imagine with the fact that the money, there's going to be some money, especially if it's a player option in the second year. If it is, then yeah, I imagine he might be a little bit healthier going into that type of season. Players in the final year of their contract, or when a lot of money might be riding on it, they have a tendency to be a little bit healthier. Just saying. The last season he played any amount of games really was the 22-23 season. It was the year after his Defensive Player of the Year season. He shot 33% from the field, almost 6 3-point attempts per game. Again, 33% from three. Excuse me. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. Daniel said, this isn't bad. No, it's not a bad offseason so far. Again, 3 very low risk, high upside potential gets for Rob Pelinka in DeAndre Ayton, Jake LaRavia, and Marcus Smart. Definitely. 3 low risk, high upside. These 3 all have the potential, if everything goes right, to really do a lot of good for the Lakers and themselves this upcoming season, which should boost the chances for the team immensely. But those are ifs. So there you go. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Ayton played himself off of 2 teams. Jake LaRavia played himself off of Memphis. Jake LaRavia found his game in Sacramento and Memphis that final year. So we'll see if we can go ahead and get the player that we had last season. So, and if he's improving with Jake LaRavia, that'd be a great sign for a young player on the come up. And then Marcus Smart. Yeah, there you go. Marcus Smart says, yes. But hold on, Kurt. Hold on, Kurt. Before you throw those stats out there, yes, that was his combined. But again, he played 34 games total. Does that concern anyone out there after playing 20 games the previous season? I don't know if that concerns anybody out there, but I'm just bringing that to light. He shot 32% from 3 with Memphis. I want to correct, I said 31. 32% from 3 with Memphis in 19 games. And in 15 games, he shot 39%. So again, which player is he, Kurt? Which player is he? It's a tale of 2 teams. So before you put that's the combined stats. Look at the actual entire story. And the thing that concerns me most is the 20 games and that was from Laker Tom, of course, man crush. Yeah. Again, I would tell Tom the same team, and he would probably grouch me for doing so because I would be talking about his man crush. But the 34 and the 20 are of most concern. Is he going to be healthy for the Lakers this season? Because if he's only playing 30 games for you this season, remember Gabe Vincent when we got him and his first season with the Lakers, he was a non-factor because he got hurt, and he's gone to virtually the entire season. So I'm hoping he'll be healthy and he gets 35. If he sticks 35% from the 3 and plays you the perimeter defense that you need, it'll be a big win for the Lakers. Thamus says Sorrell doesn't think we can convert Rui, Reeves, Gabe, Vando into better assets, and I tend to agree, but I would have laughed if anyone said we could get Luka for AD and Max. Again, Thameless, the closer as it gets to next season, the more you would be apt to do it. You would have gotten some assets, not for Vando, no, but for those expiring assets, for Reeves, Rui, I think you would have gotten better assets. I do think you would have gotten better assets earlier this summer. Or you might be able to look at, depending on where the Lakers are at in February. Now you're not going to be able to because the draft is gone. the ability to go ahead and the need for most of these teams, they've already filled it elsewhere. So those days for I think a big trade, I'm hoping not have come by, but they are looking less and less at this point in time. Thameless says, "What if I offered Flag, AD, Max Christie, multiple firsts for who? For Luca? Um, I don't see that. I don't see that. I don't see that happening. 805. So yeah, I don't see that happening because yes. You're talking about the trade in and of itself because that's what they ended up with. Lakers got Luca and Dallas for that got Max Christie, AD, multiple firsts for Flag. They got one first from the Lakers. So I don't know where the multiple firsts came up. They only got one first from the Los Angeles Lakers. So may want to correct it, but that's still a first. On that. So for Luca, but at 805, they got one first for Luca from the Lakers on that. So Flag, AD, Master Chris. I mean, that's a good and a first. That's a good haul for Luca. We'll have to wait and see. I mean, Luca is the better player out of any of those players. But we'll see. I think this season will start to tell you what you need to know. Flag is a great player for the future and a player that can contribute now on that 805 and everyone out there. So we'll see again. But is their guard play going to be enough for Dallas? But again, all these teams are trying to load up in a very thick Western Conference. So it's going to be very interesting to see the Lakers getting those 3 pickups. Will that be enough? They lost DFS, but have gotten DeAndre Ayton. They've gotten Jake LaRavia, and they've got Marcus Smart. So we will see. But Dallas is 805 again. It's all going to be dependent on how much backcourt play they get leading up to the return of Kyrie. I would not speed up Kyrie's return because a mid-30s player coming off an ACL, you need to make sure he's right. So no matter how enticing it is, I would wait, till at least the All-Star break before I bring him back. Will they be tempted to do so earlier? Will he do so earlier? I would probably say he's going to be tempted to do so and may even do so. But I would those are kind of that and the Achilles. You just want to make sure you do it right. You want to make sure you do that right when having come back. You don't want to rush them back on the court that time soon. Mellon says Bistro Boston loading up. Boston, Boston's just rebuilding at this point in time. And this is when, as a Lakers team, you try to load up as best you can. As I've said before, this is why I was arguing with Joe. I would use all the assets you have to build a win now team because of the fact that Boston is on a cycle where, of course, next year is a loss. It's going to be a gap year. I don't say it's lost year. They could still make the playoffs. Probably will make the playoffs in a weakened Eastern Conference. But with Tatum out, they don't have championship aspirations, I do not believe. And in doing so, they probably have a 2-year window right now. The Lakers have a 2-year window to try and get back to the point where they're, if they win a title, they would be tied again with Boston. But so that's why I was more into a win now mode with the Lakers because of the fact that Boston is right now going through a gap period until they can field a team around and Tatum again. Because Brad Stevens is a really good GM. We have seen the type of things he does, and the fact that he's made trades in this offseason to offload Porzingis, to offload Holiday. In Holiday's case, that bad contract. Simons. I don't know if Simons is going to be a winning player for that. I don't think they care. I think they're just loading up so that they're just reworking everything to the point where in 2027 they'll have a ready Tatum who hopefully will, in their eyes, will play as close to the Tatum that he once was before the injury. And if that's the case, by that time they will probably you'll see they'll probably have restructured that team to they'll probably have by the time if he's healthy and back up again a team that can probably can compete again. Thamos says, if we can get the 2 Pelicans you want, you think come? Yeah, Thamos. Well, that was my argument to Thamos. You guys were saying, well, who would you go with? Who would you go with? I know Sports Baby and I, for the longest time, talked about the trade with New York, solidifying that the with getting McBride or getting Robinson to fill up a lot of the needs at that point in time the Lakers had, and either getting Bridges or Anobi. But that's long gone. I said if we got Trey Murphy and Herb Jones in the starting lineup with Luka, LeBron, and now Ayton, I thought that's a team that could compete. That's a team that I would be thinking can compete in a playoff series against any team, and very well, Thamos. That would get me much closer because that's youth, that's athleticism. That's both guys are good defenders. Herb Jones is a great defender. Trey Murphy is an elite shooter and a good defender, and they're both athletic. That's everything you want, everything the Lakers would need, and that would have been the best case scenario, I think, for the Lakers if they had done that, and if they had worked enough in the money where it would, Missy, who's on the outs because they seem to be signing every other center in the league, telling Missy you're not wanted after only 1 year. I would have been taking him as a backup, and then maybe Jose Alvarado as a backup point guard as well, because he's on a very cheap contract as well. So, yeah, if I would have maneuvered for those 4 guys, would have cured a lot of ills and would have made me think a lot better of this team. But 805 says, "Oh yeah, we could definitely use another 3-and-D wing because that's still the thing. Marcus Smart will be guarding 1s and 2s. How is the athleticism along the wing for the Lakers? It's not great, 805. And having another 40% shooter in the rotation really would be nice because the Lakers only have one 40% shooter to my knowledge, and that's Rui. LeBron on a good year is going to shoot close to 40 or over 40, like he's shown. But as we've seen, it's like 1 year it's not as great, 1 year it's better. Just I don't know what it's just not consistent from LeBron from the outside. So we will see again having more consistent shooters out there that shoot at 40% and not at 35. That 5 percentage points, you guys don't think it might be much? It is a lot in the NBA. Tiger says LeBron ruined the Lakers. There's a lot of people that might agree with you. There's a lot of people that do agree with you, Tiger. I'm not going to say one way or the other. I mean, LeBron brought us a title in 2020. There's been a lot of things since that maybe not have helped the Lakers' cause. And the fact that he picked up his $52.6 million contract is not a great situation for the Lakers. But I still think this team could have been built to be more competitive. And they are a little bit more competitive with today's signing with Marcus Smart. Where you put them in the Western Conference, again, we'll have to wait and see. I'm hoping you guys are right. The most positive, the guys that says belief, the guys that says, just have belief, have trust in Rob, all that stuff that I'm not going to do. I'm hoping you're right. I'm always hoping you're right. I want this team to exceed my expectations. Always. I want this team to win a championship each and every year. I want this team to go ahead and tie. It irks me every day that Boston is now one championship ahead of the Lakers once again. It irks me to no end. So you guys, I'm hoping that you guys are much more right, but I have to tell you guys honestly, I'm not here to feed you stuff that I don't believe in 100%. I mean, there are other channels, Laker channels, that will do that will tell you it's all flowers and golden right now with the signing of Marcus Smart. Marcus Smart, at this stage of his career, is still a really good defender. The question is, can he shoot well enough to stay out there for the Lakers? Can he shoot well enough to provide much needed bench help and bench production? That's the question I have. I'm hoping that that's going to be the case. He's going to get a lot of burn coming off that bench because he's a known commodity for JJ. So, yeah, absolutely. No, I didn't say Marcus Smart is washed, JY. I didn't say Marcus Smart. Don't put words into my mouth. Please, don't put words in my mouth. But take a look at the stats, JY. take a look at his career and the stats. The highlight of his career was 21 and 22 when he was 27 years of age, a Defensive Player of the Year, averaging 12 points a game on 33% shooting from the outside at three. Okay, that was his career year. Since then, he played in 61 games the next season, 11 and a half points, shot 33% from three. Did average 6 assists that year, which is a plus because, again, that shows he can handle the ball as well and be able to facilitate the offense. The problem is, since he was traded to Memphis, only played 20 games for him in 23-24. Did score 14 and a half points, but shot 31% from three. So he was checking at almost 7 attempts a game. And then, of course, Memphis loved him so much, he was traded after starting the year playing only 19 games for them and shooting only 32%. He did rebound his career in Washington a little bit as far as in the 15 games he played, 40% shooting from there, but he didn't average 10 points a game for either Memphis or Washington last year. So I'm not going to say he's washed. Don't put words in my mouth. No, I'm not going to be Joe that gets all mad, putting words in the mouth here, but just don't say I said he's washed. I said he's played 34 games one year. He played 20 games the previous year before that. And his shooting, we'll have to wait and see what you're getting. And then also as well, but he will provide defense. Immediately, he comes on the Lakers as the Lakers' best defender by default. And he can provide backup at the 1 or the 2 for the Lakers, which is something they do need to help fill some depth on that roster. But can he stay healthy and can he shoot 35%? That is a question. 805 says Marcus Smart is Caruso. Oh, I would not put him as Caruso. Come on. That's Marcus Smart in 21-22 and as Defensive Player of the Year. Absolutely. But and I know Caruso's shooting is like touch and go as well. But let's see that in action. He was for quite a bit for Boston, yes. If he could get close to Caruso, I would be thrilled. I would be thrilled, 805, if Marcus Smart comes close to that Caruso role for the Lakers. Kurt said, sorry if you missed this, G, but what do you think of Luka asserting himself and helping to persuade others? Yeah, I said that earlier. I said that's an encouraging sign for Lakers as far as for the Luka end. It does not guarantee he's going to accept an offer in August as far as a extension offer, Kurt. I would be if he does it, that shows he's committing to Lakers, and that's a great sign. That's an awesome sign. But financially, it is in his best interest to wait, just like in Nikola Jokic. His best financial interest by far is to wait a year before accepting an extension. Now, if he doesn't accept an extension next year, I will go all rock eyebrow on that as far. That's going to be interesting if he does not accept an offer next year. But with Luka, it is, I think, more financially in his best interest to wait. But if he does sign and commit next month, when offered a contract, when he's able to by Rob Pelinka, and Rob Pelinka on the second of the first day will be offering him a contract extension, that will be an encouraging sign that, a message will be sent to Dallas is that he wants to go ahead and make the Lakers the platform that he was not allowed to make with Dallas. And what does that say about LeBron? That LeBron was not part of this process? I think that tells you all you need to know at this point, because they are now the Lakers, the management that's there, or maybe, they're obviously hinting and obviously supporting signs that they're pointing towards a future with Luka. And as evidenced by the words from Rich Paul when LeBron signed that extension or signed that final year in his contract, agreed to the final year in his contract, it shows that, of course, there's going to be another way as far as that the team is going in another direction. 805, he does. 805. But again, look at the whole picture. Let's see Marcus Smart for what it is. I think it's, again, immediately coming on this floor as the Lakers' best defender. Sorry, Vando, move over. Again, just like when DFS came, you got the Lakers' best defender. again, what can he give you on the as far as on the perimeter? He can also again he can play make. He can do things as far as Bloodhound talked about Bronny as a combo guard. Well, he needs to look no further at Marcus Smart as a definitive combo guard, which again should be really good news as far as if Gabe is not having the best of times, then you have Marcus Smart as your sixth man coming off the bench to provide that again. But the thing I'm worried about, can he shoot 35% from the field? From three. Can he shoot 35 from three? If he can, that obviously really helps the Lakers and really helps the Lakers going forward as far as him being able to stay out on the court, being a perimeter defensive hound and being a dog on the defensive end. I really like that aspect of it. He can play make for you guys, so that obviously brings something. But can he shoot and can he stay healthy? Because again, playing 54 games in 2 seasons. Yeah. There you go. Well, Mike, I said it earlier. Thank you for joining us. Hopefully you'll be able to like and subscribe. I did mention that earlier. Bronny, if he needs to look no further, has someone that he can emulate and matriculate, and hopefully Smart will put him under his wing and show him what a similar player as far as attributes, as far as similar style, what he can bring to this game. Because we talked about Bronny touch and go summer, the good and the bad of what Bronny's done this summer. And again, I would like to see him work more on his shooting and his defense before you start really trying to make him a playmaker. But again, we'll see if he just needs to look no further than Marcus Smart. So maybe Marcus Smart can take him under his wing and be able to go ahead and improve him overall as a player. So Mike says, I'm proud of new ownership. Well, it's not new ownership yet, Mike. That deal has not gone through. It gets ratified, I believe, in October at the governor's meeting. So it is still the current situation in regards to the ownership status, and we will not get a definitive. We'll ratify it, but we will not have Mark Walter as the definitive owner of the Lakers until then. Yet. But here today to go ahead and discuss it, he did make the drive from San Diego, speeding on the freeway in order to go ahead and do so. Appreciate Joe for coming on at maybe not the most opportune time. It is Joe Soro. Joe, great to have you here. Again, we don't know for sure if Jordan Goodwin is going to be at the Costas, but it sure looks like that's going to be the case. Again, the ability to go ahead and play at the 1 and the 2, the fact you do get immediately the Lakers' best defender. You hope he can shoot 35% and stay on the floor, because 54 games in 2 seasons, obviously not been the healthiest of guys. But if it is a player option in the second year, he, like Ayton, and in a way Jake LaRavia, are going to be should be playing their butts off this season for the Lakers in order to get a future for them going forward. So in that way, I think it's a win for the Lakers. And hopefully it does help a lot of those depth issues we've been talking about on this show, Joe.
Yeah, the depth was always the primary topic, primary concern, without giving up too much of the depth. And I was talking to Sean about this, Sean Grice, and he's not really excited about the deal. But I told him, I said, if they had traded
on the cheap, you gotta like it. I mean,
yeah, you haven't spent anything on 2 guys that are gonna help. It's just they're not gonna help. They're gonna help. And if something comes about this summer in getting, let's say, an improvement in the roster, then that's great. But I think we'll probably likely have to wait for that using assets until the deadline. I don't know of anything brewing right now. But then again, I was surprised that this deal happened now as well. So we'll have to wait.
The Wiggins thing is not going to die. God, you guys.
It could be Miami trying to pull that out. It's probably just Miami leaking things and trying to get things going there. That's how these guys do it, the agents, because they know that what's a better place for Wiggins to showcase himself than the LA Lakers next to LeBron and Luka. That's likely why that's becoming a topic, and it makes sense if the Lakers were able to make a deal like that, because Wiggins does help on the defensive side. He can score in spurts depending on what's, the whether he wants to or not, and it's within the 27 timeline. It's not really too hard to figure out how that's there. The issue there is, what is Pat Riley going to want? And I don't think the Lakers want to spend any assets for Wiggins, and I agree with that.
I wouldn't. I mean, the expirings, because they talked about the expirings with Wiggins of Rui and or Reeves. Would you give up one or either for Wiggins?
The one you punted the season, really punted the season when you rescinded the trade for Mark Williams. And while Connect might have been some of the reason at the time, I think ultimately maybe Rob and the Lakers found something out or figured something out in the meantime. Say, you know what, guys? We may be making a mistake here. We want to save this important asset for a real player. A player that can really make a difference maybe next year. It's not an accident that the Wizards did this deal and it worked in the Lakers' favor. The Wizards might be the only team in the NBA, from what I've seen, that has a good connection with Rob.
Well, this is not a deal with them. I mean, that's something that
it's not.
Agent
But I'm sure there was discussions. Hey,
the thing is also as well. Does this mean CJ McCollum also will be asking for a buyout? And Chris Middleton?
I don't think the Lakers need CJ McCollum. I think he when you
no,
talk
Chris
about
Middleton. I'm just asking if Chris Middleton, since they saw Marcus Smart, does that mean Chris Middleton and CJ McCollum will be asking out as well?
I wouldn't doubt it, but they still have to field a roster. It's not like they got Cooper.
Well, they've got 15 players. I think they've got 6. They've got enough players on that roster.
I think they keep Chris Middleton. I don't know if maybe CJ wants to tail into a one more chance to win a title.
Go ring chasing.
Maybe that might be the incentive there. I don't know what Washington's goals are going to be here. Washington seems to continue to be an area of purgatory.
They're freeing up space, Joe. They'll have $100 million on the cap space.
Who's going to go to Washington is going to be the question.
That's true.
Does Giannis go to Washington if he's a free agent in 2027? No. Is Jokic, if he decides to be a free agent in 2027? No. Who's going to Washington? I think in the end, Washington may want to tank again and hope that they can get the first pick next year. Although I haven't had a chance to see the mocks on that one.
But again, that Marcus Smart, he comes to the Lakers. Again, I think he steps on the roster as the best Lakers defender. All apologies to Vando. I didn't think that bar was very high. I'm hoping again, Joe, that he will shoot closer to. I'm not asking 40% from him from 3. I'm asking 35. If he shoots 31 or 32% as a Laker,
a subscriber.
That's going to be a problem. But if he shoots 35, Joe, along with Luka and Austin shooting 35, 36% like they usually do, I think that's just fine. And I think that will allow him to play extended minutes as the Lakers' 6th man, Joe. Your thoughts on that, Joe? You're on mute. I got you.
If this is the final roster, don't be surprised if you see Marcus Smart in the playoffs playing over Reeves. Because you're going to need someone that can stay in front of the Jalen Williams, the SGAs. Austin Reeves is a regular season player at this point, and when the playoffs come, he struggles. So if Austin Reeves wants to get his jollies off in the regular season to get his money, and he can still win, okay. Maybe that's good. Maybe it saves up the other guys to be able to, or maybe he fills in the void more for LeBron. And doesn't have to kill himself on defense and run out his energy, because you do have somebody like Marcus Smart, and at least you have now a competent 7-footer that offenses have to at least think about, even though DeAndre Ayton isn't necessarily Dikembe Mutombo. So there is these two acquisitions, more than the fact that they didn't relinquish anything for them, they are actually of value on the court. They have a lot of value on the court. They filled in voids that the Lakers desperately needed. And now you factor in, can Luka become an MVP this year? That's almost like adding half a player there. Will Austin Reeves improve? Maybe he improves. If that happens, great. Maybe Rui plays a little bit better than he did before. That adds to this. And LaRavia being a little bit of a crapshoot, maybe LaRavia hits at the right moment. I said this on the last show. Maybe this is his come up. Maybe this is where he turns a corner. And if the timing is right, that would be a huge improvement as well.
Well, they have they have Rui that needs to prove himself in order to get a big contract in the summer, Joe. They have Reeves. Obviously, we've discussed at length that he needs to prove himself in order to get that $30 million plus that he was going to be asking for next summer from whoever, whether the Lakers or whoever. You've got Ayton playing for a new contract next summer. You've got potentially Jake LaRavia, again, playing for his career long forward, because, again, if he has a crappy season, Joe, it's a $6 million contract next season for the Lakers. They can easily move that, and he could go into NBA purgatory after that. But so he will be playing for his NBA career essentially this season as well. And then Marcus Smart, we don't know if it's a player, team, or just a straight 2-year. As of yet, it's been reported as a 2-year, but those things always come out in the wash. Oh, by the way, it's a player option. Oh, by the way, it's a team option. If it is a player option, he will be playing for the rest of his career. So the motivation for at least 5 Lakers is there, Joe. So I'm encouraged by that. And Intel Wilds, his podfather, watching from behind again, but we improved at center. Yes, we did. And got a 3-and-D wing. I don't know about the 3 part. Got the defensive wing without trading anyone or giving up draft capital. You're talking about Jake LaRavia. Yes, Jake LaRavia for DFS. If Jake LaRavia shoots like he did last season and not like the first 2 seasons. If Jake LaRavia plays like he did and shoots like he did last season where he gets close to 40%, I agree with you, Intel. Now is the time to make a trade or two to bring that trophy back down Figueroa Street. I agree with Intel 100% that now is the time to make a trade or two to solidify the roster even more. But do you agree on that, Joe? Has this Marcus Smart mover maybe sped up your timeline a little bit more before Mark Walter comes in?
Well, it adds a need, and you didn't give up the depth. That's the positive. That's a huge positive. You didn't give up anything for someone who maybe
depends on your thoughts on Jordan Goodwin, because Jordan Goodwin most likely will be.
With all due respect to Jordan Goodwin, I understand he was a revelation last year, but I'm sorry, but Marcus Smart's a better player than he is.
He is,
and he's a better player in an area that the Lakers have desperately needed. They need a perimeter defender, and they got one. And unfortunately, Jared Vanderbilt might be valuable during the regular season, but he is a ghost in the playoffs. Now, the Celtics had to trade Marcus Smart to win a championship because Marcus Smart couldn't hit shots in the playoffs. That was the problem with him for some of those runs that they had. And they were able to move him and able to acquire Drew Holiday, who was maybe not as good of a defender, but a good one, and then added Derek White and that kind of solved that problem enough to where they won the championship last year. We don't need Marcus Smart to be a shooter like Celtics needed Marcus Smart to be. We need him to be exactly what he was in 2023, and that was the Defensive Player of the Year. And even at 75% of that will be good enough.
Mm-hmm. Are you concerned at all when it comes to Marcus Smart, the fact he's only played 34 games last year and 20 the year before?
Yeah, it's a problem. And that plays into the fact that the Lakers didn't have to give up any assets for him. So if he ends up becoming a dud, it's not catastrophic. It's not like they gave up Rui or a draft piece to get him. And it's like picking up a free agent in the NFL, a kind of tweener between prime and getting out of his prime, or maybe going down the other way as a last second maybe run. You don't really know. You don't really know how it's really going to play out. But even if it doesn't play out, the Lakers didn't really give up anything for him, and that means something because you pick this guy up regardless. Even if the Lakers were stacked and ready to go win a championship, you still pick up Marcus Smart if you can, because he is that guy. He is a guy that will put his head down. And I'm sorry, by the way, I meant 2022, not 2023 Defensive Player of the Year. He will put his head down and do what this team needs him to do, which is get in front of a guy and at least give us 75% of what he was in 2022 and be 100% on top of that, because the Lakers don't have anybody like that. Who has defensive prowess on this team? Jared Vanderbilt to a degree, but he's non-existent in the playoffs because he gets exposed because he's so hideous on the other side of the floor. He's also not strong mentally. You could see frustration. You could see shoulders dripping down. And then there's a panic, and then there's impatience, and then there's fumbling, and then there's bad basketball skills that are shown. I still don't understand the love affair with Jared Vanderbilt. I don't understand it. He is everything that you want in a basketball player.
I think we need to sit down, you and I, with Jamie Sweet and Empire Jeff TV on that. We need to get them in a therapy session.
He's built like every kind of basketball player you want and the skills that you want, but everything in that cranium of his is everything the other way. And if you don't have what's here, you are useless. And it's worse when you do have the physicality or the physical skills to do it, and you can't because you're mentally tapped out. I don't understand it. I feel like sometimes they're hoping that he becomes great. There's no hope in this business. You either are or you aren't.
ER says, we need floor runners, fellas. Yes, I would agree, but Alex Len is not going to be that that floor runner, no way, shape, or form. But the Lakers did go ahead and get an agreement when he obviously comes off of waivers to get Marcus Smart again. Coming to the Los Angeles Lakers, again, what kind of shooter? Because he does shoot at a pretty good volume for the minutes that he's allowed, as far as from behind the arc, Joe. He is mainly for his career. He's a 32% 3-point shooter. I'm hoping in his short time in Washington, where he shot close to 40%, that can matriculate towards his time with the Lakers, as opposed to what he shot in Memphis. Your thoughts on this? Again, if he shoots 35%, I would be ecstatic if he shoots 35% from three, because I really will allow him to stay on the floor and will allow him to go ahead and be an integral part of this team going forward, Joe. Because if he shoots 31%, as he has at
I'm
times,
not. Again, I'm
that
not.
gets
I'm not really at the point of thinking about his shooting at the moment. I think the excitement of him coming is the fact that number one, they didn't relinquish anything, and he can actually play defense on a team that has no defenders. And how this plays out in an 82 game season. The Lakers did have, I think, the best rating for about 6 weeks after the Luka trade, and then I think they ran out of gas. That's my guess. The Lakers ran out of gas. Couldn't play defense and offense like that. Luka coming off his calf issue, not being in the best of shape. LeBron hurting himself again. Vanderbilt becoming Vanderbilt like he always does when it matters. No defensive. Even when AD was there, the defense was not really in tune.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have someone like Jackson Hayes who doesn't really have the basketball IQ to really understand angles and when to jump and when not to jump on the defensive side. Rui will do his best and can kind of shield players a certain way. Sure. Austin, unfortunately, just doesn't have the athleticism to do it. Connect obviously was terrible. Gabe Vincent was not useful at all. Kleber didn't really play, so that can't use him. Who else? That's really it, guys. This team was not constructed after the trade to be a defensive team. We were hoping and praying that they could get through it with some offense and then some timely defense, but there just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough talent there. There wasn't enough NBA talent to put on the team, put on the floor in important times to where the teams that they were playing weren't going to exploit them.
And again, I think a lot is writing for the rest of his career on this season. So again, that's the plus that the Lakers should be getting. Yes, Jeremy, he has only played 54 games in 2 seasons, in the past 2 seasons for both Washington and Memphis. So that has to be of concern. But again, as I mentioned before, the Lakers now have at least five players playing within huge financial incentives, Joe. And as much as we don't like to say it's about the money, it's about the money in this case. And with Austin, a lot riding for him. DeAndre Ayton, a lot riding for him. Same thing with, even to a lesser extent, to Laravia and Marcus Smart. Rui Hashimura, a lot financially is riding for him for what's on the horizon for those guys could be in 26 and 27. This is it is imperative that those guys contribute and elevate the Lakers to a top 3 status in the West. And if that's going to be the case, also included an MVP season from Luka. If all these things matriculate, then maybe all those great vibes that some of those guys in our chatter have, or that are already counting a championship for the Lakers, maybe that puts them heavily in that conversation, Joe. Maybe that does. Maybe it will.
You need Marcus to stay healthy. 34 games in 20 games is not good. But if he plays 60, 65 games, that's the way the NBA is now. That would be good. And then make sure that he's 100% going into the playoffs. Well, not 100%. No one's 100% going into the playoffs, but healthy and focused to be able to play important minutes in the playoffs, because that's ultimately why he needed to be here. The Lakers needed somebody that could play defense, especially on the perimeter, because they had no one. And they were able to get one when he's available, that can stay in front of his guy a little bit. And he's not that old, not that spent, at least from what I've seen. But we're not going to know that until we see him.
Jeremy, his shooting has always been streaky. Marcus Smart. I mean, his career will tell you that. Do you just talk to Boston fans? The defense on such a obviously his defensive player of the year status. Such a great asset to have. But the fact that he was a chucker at times from 3, and obviously you see by the ratio that his very streaky from the area. I mean, but the thing is, I still think this is an upgrade over Gabe Vincent. But remember, Gabe Vincent 2 seasons ago, coming off of his finals run, he is a traditionally streaky shooter as well. I'm hoping this doesn't go the way of Gabe Vincent, because we saw what happened in that first year of Gabe, and I'm just hoping he'll stay healthy, because if he stays healthy and is out there on the court, like you said, 60 to 65 games, I think that's a big win for the Lakers.
Yeah, I'm not putting anything positive on the Gabe Vincent thing. I think I've seen enough of Gabe Vincent.
Mm-hmm.
I would love for Rob to make one more trade before the deadline at the very least, where he moves Gabe Vincent and Kleber for someone that can help this team. But the problem is the other teams are going to want a first-round pick, which that's probably why he hasn't moved them. So what could happen is someone could be depleted in the guard position and need to get a guard, and could maybe trade for Gabe Vincent and maybe give up a couple second-round picks or a second-round pick. I'd be okay with that. Just get him out of here. I don't see any benefit with him around. Get something for him. Kleber, I don't know what that's going to be either. I don't know how that's going to move.
That's just an expiring contract at this point.
You would need someone. You need a player out there that might have another. Maybe there's a team out there that wants to get out of a contract that goes through 27, and maybe they want to get out of it a year earlier, and it totals around $22 million. I don't know. I'd have to look at what's there to maybe get a chance to see something, but.
But this does give the Lakers obviously something we talked about, improved depth, and as far as a guy coming off the bench that you can count on, at least on one side of the fence. And the fact that he can handle the ball, Joe, that he can play a bit of the point, the 1 and the 2, and he can guard the 1 and 2s in the league. Again, when healthy, is really encouraging, Joe. And that something that we've been talking about. Like you said, Joe, you were saying maybe Gerald will be happy because we got something for nothing. I know that was you mentioned earlier. I am happy that the Lakers got him. He is an upgrade over Goodwin, and the fact that it does help this the Lakers bench, it's something obviously in a positive direction. But is it enough, Joe? Is it enough to put the Lakers in a higher status than what you were thinking before?
Probably not. They need maybe one more impact player. But with the way the injuries have come about in the NBA, the West is stronger than the East. Again, there's that thought that, okay, let's just see how it plays out. You have Luka that is in great shape. If he's going to play MVP ball, great. And what DeAndre Ayton and guys like Marcus Smart and Rui and Austin Reeves can do to help the situation, besides their money, and the kind of all plays together on this, is step up your games just a little bit. Step up. If all 4 of those guys, because we all know Luka's going to step up his game. He's ready. You could see it, and you know who he is. He's going to be better than he was last year, 100%.
I believe so as well.
And he's in the best shape of his life from what I've seen. I've never seen him in this kind of shape. And when I say the best shape of his life, it's the best shape at an important time. This isn't him looking like this at age 19. At age 19 doesn't mean anything. At age 26, that means he's a seasoned vet who knows NBA basketball, who's now in the shape of what he was then, but with the knowledge that has expanded. This is a dangerous player that's going to be really good, and he's going to have something to prove on top of that. And y'all know Luka is that guy. Now, JJ's going to need to make sure that he takes advantage of that. Make sure you get that ball in his hands when it matters the most. That's something that I'm going to be watching JJ on this year. JJ needs to prove now that he needs to set this up the correct way, not what he did last year. Last year was an absolute disaster at the end of games. He didn't put the ball where it needed to go. He didn't do that. And if it was somebody else not allowing it to happen, then he better be the damn coach and make sure that in training camp to make it happen this year. If not, then JJ may need to be someone that needs to go. If Reeves, Rui, DeAndre Ayton, and Marcus Smart all play 10% better than they did last year, now you're going to preserve LeBron James. LeBron James cannot exceed 32 minutes this year. Cannot. He has to be in the 32 area at the very least. I would prefer 29 to 30, but he cannot play 36 minutes a game again. Those extra 4 minutes are a lot over an 82-game season. You need him to be preserved so you can take advantage of his greatness when it matters in the playoffs, and his greatness means his experience and his drive to try to end this run that he's had so that maybe the conversation gets better again instead of down like it has the last few years.
What if the reports were true that that Luka may have been a part of this as far as making the magical call to Marcus to try to see if he could swing him over to LA? What does that say about this whole situation with Luka, and to a lesser extent, but no less interesting extent, about LeBron?
I don't understand where you're going with it.
Well, no, just as far as them asking Luka to make the call to Marcus Smart, if you read and believe the reports that are out there that Luka was involved in getting this, it's what we've seen with these buyouts. A star from the team, the prospective team, they call the prospective buyout player, "Hey, come over to our side," and whatnot. The reports have Luka making a call to Marcus Smart to ask him to come to LA. And I'm sure that was facilitated by the organization, as far as in all this. Your thoughts on that, as far as what does that say about where the Lakers think about Luka and what the Lakers are not thinking so much about with LeBron?
Does Marcus have a relationship? I'm sorry. Does Luka have a relationship with Marcus in some way?
I wasn't aware of it. If that's the case, I'm just, again, multiple individuals in our chat reports have said that that's the case. I don't know if that's the case and that's happened, but
Is that report insinuating that the Lakers are relying on Luka and not LeBron to speak for them?
I think it does.
So that tells
read
me
between the lines is basically
that tells me right out of the gate that this is just tabloid garbage that these reports are coming out of. If you have some proof, go ahead and put it out there and stop with your lack of talent out there, and many of them are lack of talent. So many of them are making so much money being absolute dogs. And I'm not talking about good dogs. I'm talking about shit dogs. You have to report, quote unquote, report things instead of just saying the Lakers asked Luka because that to bridge this. And what does that have to do with? By doing this, this helps LeBron. And why wouldn't LeBron want to help the situation? Why wouldn't they want to ask LeBron to help the situation? This helps his situation.
Again,
my disdain for LeBron's tactics have nothing to do with the Lakers organization and who's there. LeBron is LeBron's issues. My issues with LeBron is his pettiness, his immaturity to not getting what he wants and turning into what he turns into.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just LeBron who's done that. That you're talking about the Jimmy Butlers, the James Hardens of the world. Kevin Durant can be in some way there, although he hasn't been as obnoxious. Only when there's jokes about it. He kind of gets butthurt with the jokes. But this is supposed to help the team and definitely help LeBron go into his final year and have an actual chance to put a button on his legacy.
Uh-huh.
And guys like Reeves, Rui, and Marcus Smart play a huge role in preserving him. And Luka playing MVP ball preserves LeBron as well, because then you can put Marcus Smart and Luka in the backcourt against a team that you feel pretty comfortable in exploiting. You can exploit them on offense with Luka. You can exploit them on defense with Marcus Smart. That's a good combo. You always want the two guards to do one or the other. If you can have them do both, great. But you want at least one of them to be the dominant on offense, especially in today's league, and then one being the dominant on defense. Case in point, even though it's not really a similar setup, but it's like a diagram of it. Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. And the reason why the Golden State Warriors were so potent, not just because they could shoot, but Klay Thompson was a damn good defender. And obviously Draymond Green played a good part in that as well. But Klay Thompson could guard the elite guards. He was good at that. Steph Curry, not too much, could hold his own a little bit, maybe a little underrated in his ability to play smart defense, pardon the pun. And that's what helped propel them, because their defense was so good too. And it's because of that played a huge part. If Klay Thompson was Steph Curry's skill set, they may not have won as much as they did. Klay Thompson was a bona fide defense, a two-way player. He was a two-way player, not as great as LeBron or Kobe or Jordan, but pretty damn good. So now the Lakers have, for the first time since 2021, they actually have a two guard that can defend. The last one happened to be Mr. Alex Caruso, someone who just won a championship, by the way. So if you think he's not valuable in that, you're kidding yourself. This is a man that went on the first team all defensive team the year after he was ignored by the Lakers. And he also made the second team, and Sam Presti traded a very good player for him. Oh, look, the year that they won a championship. So here's what's gone on in the Alex Caruso world the last 3 seasons. First team All-NBA, second team All-NBA on defense, and a world champion. Marcus Smart is a still young player, not
31.
31. Hasn't played a lot the last couple of years. That could be a benefit. And this is a man that actually is a defensive player of the year, and not only a defensive player of the year, but a perimeter defensive player of the year. Now, Gerald, you know how many defensive player of the year guards there have been in the last, let's just say 30 years?
Less than 5, if my memory corrects.
2. 30 years. There's only been 2 guards that have been defensive player of the year. And if you want to go back even further, let's say 36 years. There's only been 3, and that one was Michael Jordan in 1988. For some reason, I don't know why this changed. The first year that the Defensive Player of the Year award started was in 1983, the 82-83 season. And Sidney Moncrief won it for the first time, won it again the following year, and then Mark Eaton won one, and then went back to a guard again in Alvin Robinson, and then Michael Cooper won it, and then Michael Jordan won it. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is I don't understand what's harder to do in the NBA, guard the perimeter athletic freaks, because you don't funnel players to guards or a perimeter defender. You funnel them to a center or a hybrid power forward. So wouldn't you say it's harder to play defense on the perimeter than it would be in the center? But for some reason, after 1988, you've only had three guards or perimeter players win the Defensive Player of the Year, when it should be more of those guys, because that is harder to defend. because guys in the NBA the last 40 years, Jordan, Isaiah, Dominique Wilkins, I mean, I can name them all. Kobe. I mean, I feel like those guys are the hardest guys to guard versus, oh, wait, let me just funnel this guy to Dikembe and he'll block 3 shots and then get the rebound, right? Because he's the tall guy. Oh, and then let's give this guy four of those because he's the defender. Yeah, no, it's a different. To me, I think they need to start looking at that a little differently. I think this is something that Laker fans should acknowledge and understand that if Marcus Smart is available for 65 games this year and the playoffs, he is going to bring something to the table.
And again, we will see early on how this team meshes. And ER says LeBron is not all in right now. Well, let's say he's on the team and this team gets off to a good start. I think that will. Winning cures a lot of ills, ER and everyone out there. So again, if this team gets off to a good start and shows themselves to be together a team that can play with anyone in the Western Conference, because I think the winner of next year's championship is going to probably come out of Western Conference. I don't see Cleveland, however good they are, matching up with a top Western Conference team right now. Maybe my mind will change by the time we get to the end of the season, but the period I've thought about it, Joe, I still think the Western Conference is dominant, and I still think it's going to be very tough for the Lakers this upcoming season. But if the Lakers find themselves in a position where it looks really good, Luka's having that MVP-like season, the Lakers are top 3 in the Western Conference. Come February, even if they have the roster they have now, they could make some tweaks that might hurt that beloved 2027 timeline a little, but might bring a title closer to the Lakers.
Yeah, the timeline is there because you have to be prepared for what could happen. You can't go into that offseason thinking, oh well, they're just going to do this. Imagine if Golden State thought that same way in 2016. You have to play for what could happen because those are not your regular superstars. Those are already Hall of Fame guys. Some of those guys should be winning MVPs still. So you have to prepare for both. What's gonna close the gap in that time? I don't know. We don't know. What if somebody decides that they want to be traded to LA? That's a star.
Mm-hmm.
We don't know that. Who would it be? Who's a star in the NBA right now? I don't know. Maybe Jason Tatum gets upset with the Celtics next year and says, I want to go to LA. I'm just throwing that out there. There's no rumor to it. Maybe Jaylen Brown doesn't feel appreciated and says, I want to go to LA. Now you're like, okay, Jaylen Brown in the backcourt with Luka Doncic.
Mm-hmm.
You don't know, but you have to prepare and then try to be as calculated as you can. If somebody comes your way and you're sitting there going, man, if we get this guy, he might not be a Giannis or a Jokic, but damn, LeBron is going to come off the books. We'd be able to get this guy in 2026 and then add this guy to that team. Man, that might work. What is it, Jared Allen maybe? There a Jared Allen that might say, hey, I'm ready to bounce to somewhere else. Maybe Cleveland feels like they need to change something up next year when they don't win again. There's too much that can happen between now and next year and then the following year that could change it, but you have to be prepared for both. What you don't want to do is you don't want to overpay for good players. You don't want to overpay Austin Reeves. You don't want to pay someone like that. Look at the Jeremy Grants of the world. Look at the Bam Adebayos of the world. And in a lot of ways, there wasn't a choice in Miami for the timing sometimes doesn't give you a choice to not sign those guys to those contracts. It's either you lose them or you pay them. And sometimes you got to overpay them. But the problem is Bam Adebayo at $50 million is 10 times worse than LeBron at $50 million. That's debilitating because he's a good player and you're paying him LeBron money, it's too it limits your team so much that you just can't get out of it, because who's going to want Bam Adebayo for $50 million? No one. No one wants him. And if they do take him, Miami's going to have to give up assets. And does Miami really have a lot of assets? No, they don't. So,
and they have a big decision to make on Hero. Do you commit a lot of money on Hero?
No,
that's
another thing. No, you do not. Now, here's the benefit of Miami, though. They still have Pat Riley there. Mickey Arison is an owner that doesn't get in your business. If they decide to let things go and open up cap space, people will want to go to Miami. You don't believe me? Look at 2010. The best player at that time, or at least the second best player at worst, decided to go to Miami. So did Chris Bosh. People want to go to Miami. Players will go to Miami if there's money there, because they can keep most of the two. It's Miami, weather, lifestyle, good organization. Miami doesn't have anything to worry about, much like the LA Lakers in a lot of ways. Although their fan base is a little iffy, but that's because it's Southern California gets called, the cultural mecca of the country, when in fact it's actually more like Miami. Miami has more of a mixture, and most of those guys don't really care for NBA basketball. A lot of soccer fans out there, a lot of Caribbean baseball types that are out there, Cubans, Dominicans, Haitians. Most of those countries look at soccer and baseball as a primary, and of course football has a fan base as well.
Once again, it is Joe Soro along with me, Gerald Glassford. Thanks again for watching this thing. It's breaking news. Marcus Smart is expected to join the Lakers on a 2-year, $11 million contract after he has been bought out from the Washington Wizards, pending him clearing waivers. One of the things I wanted to ask you is Lowell's brought up in here as far as concerned. I think he maybe just used a quote from somewhere else. I'll have to see. But Lakers signed potent 10-point per game scorer, which is around what he's averaged per his career, 10 points a game, and potent point of attack defender, and elite ball handler and veteran Marcus Smart. Lakers confirmed to be a top 3 team in 2026 with Luka Doncic. Your thoughts on that, my friend? I mean, potent 10 points a game scorer. He averages 10 points a game. I don't know if potent is the word I would use. A great point of attack defender. Absolutely. No question about that. He was given many shots as to being the regular point guard in Boston, and you saw they loved it so much they moved on from him. So I don't know what I want to put him as a good combo guard with abilities to go ahead and facilitate the offense and being the backup point guard, but elite ball handler, I don't know about that. But overall, it's a good pickup for the Lakers. A good pickup for the Lakers. Defensively on the perimeter, this helps immensely, Joe. Can he stay healthy? Can he be a lot of those things, what I just described from Lulz? Can he do the things that the Lakers need to do? If he's all of those things that Lulz says, or Lulz copied and pasted, then obviously a lot of the Lakers' problems will be alleviated if that's the case.
All I care about is availability and defense. If he adds 12 points a game on top of that, even 10, cool. Marcus Smart is coming to LA to bring in veteran leadership, deep playoff experience, and a way for LeBron to be preserved. And nothing preserves a veteran player, more than a good defense. And you also have a player that, if you're struggling, if Austin Reeves is struggling covering a Jalen Williams or an SGA, you can now at least contain those guys with someone like Marcus Smart, whereas you can't contain those guys with someone like Austin Reeves because he doesn't have the athleticism to do so.
Doobie says, I think it's Smart. I think Smart is washed, but it's a little money, so I guess it's okay. We could find out if he's washed. Again, 2 seasons, 54 games only. So health is a concern. In regards to picking up anybody else, guys, I don't know the status yet.
So
Again,
define washed. Is he washed because he hasn't played a lot the last couple of years?
I think that's probably what they're pointing to, yeah. And the fact that Memphis, after acquiring him, were so endeared with him, they moved on from him, which I think is, a lot of people have concerns when when you're dumped, when your salary is dumped, as what was the case with Memphis dumping the salary to Washington. That's a player who's not at this frame of his career going in the right direction. You have to admit that. Everybody out there has to admit that. When you dump a player like Memphis did with Smart to Washington, you have to admit his career has not been heading in the right direction. But again, if he finds his health and finds the fact that this is obviously a lot of the money could be on the line for his future as his contract runs out, as far as his main contract, and then also as well in the 2-year, if it's a player option, he is playing for his very NBA future, as far as a substantial future monetarily, if that's the case. So we will have to wait and see. But I wanted to bring up something as what they're signing for the 2-year BAE at 2-year, $11 million. Again, they will not go ahead and they're going to go ahead and not guarantee Shake Milton. Most likely, because he only has a $25,000 guarantee, they will most likely have to let, because of financial reasons, Jordan Goodwin goes. Yes, that will leave the Lakers with 14 players on the roster, Joe, but I don't know how much money they will have left under the cap. So it's touch and go on whether or not they can pick up anybody else. We'll have to wait and see how that materializes out. If that's the case, do you see anybody out there in free agent land, or do you think a trade has to be necessitated for the Lakers to get stronger before the start of the season?
With the way the buyout market has flourished, this is the best buyout market acquisitions I've seen probably ever for the Lakers. Wasn't expecting guys like Ayton and Marcus Smart to be available for the Lakers to acquire and be possibilities of cogs into the machine. Marcus Smart, if I'm the Lakers, I maybe talk to Ron Harper to talk to someone like a Marcus Smart. Ron Harper, Ron Harper came into the NBA as a kind of like, can this guy be like a Michael Jordan? Then he ripped up his knee and had a couple of injury-plagued seasons, and then ended up playing really well in LA with the Clippers until his contract ran out. Then he became a Bull, and you all know how that turned out. Marcus Smart needs to play exactly what his name is, smart. And if he wants to play smart, he becomes the defensive identity for this team. This team, still with LeBron there, has not really had an identity since 2022.
Mm-hmm. Now,
when you have guys like Marcus Smart coming in that are veteran guys that are defenders, that say DeAndre Ayton maybe doesn't give him an identity either, but Al Horford, who I thought was going to Golden State, apparently hasn't committed to anybody. If you can get him as a backup big, now your identity starts to get even more enhanced, even though he's long in the tooth. But now you have somebody in the locker room, like an Al Horford, let's say, that can that has the ability to keep the waters at bay. Someone that can communicate well. And this is not just Al Horford doing this because he's a veteran guy. Al Horford has been known to this since he was in Florida. It's why those guys won back-to-back championships with Joakim Noah, Corey Brewer, and Mr. Coach Donovan in his heyday. So the Lakers building their roster right now, I think they need that kind of mindset. This was an opportunity for them to bring this, a needed opportunity. But I would like to see if they could get a veteran guy in now that could give them more of an identity, someone that communicates well and can still perform. You haven't had a lot of those guys because LeBron is not. LeBron people are gonna hate me when I say this. LeBron is very similar to Ben Roethlisberger in terms of leadership. They're not leaders. They never have been. They're not that kind of a leader. And you could even say, in a lot of ways, Kobe Bryant wasn't really a leader, other than by ferocious example, fear. LeBron doesn't play like that. LeBron can't motivate through fear. Kobe could motivate through fear. Michael Jordan could motivate through fear. Magic motivated through Isaac Newton type mentality. And same with Larry Bird. I always kind of compare Larry Bird in a lot of ways to a much more cerebral Kobe Bryant. Larry Bird didn't go crazy like Kobe. Kobe was nuts. Kobe only knew one gear. So the Lakers need to add more players that are going to help on the court and help off the court, but it has to be both, not some Dudley type player, Jared Dudley type player where he's just good in the locker room. No, I want somebody that can do both and can serve a purpose. If you want to make this last run with LeBron.
Jay on Herb Jones, there's no chance. New Orleans just gave him an extension. That window for you to trade for either him and or Trey Murphy, that window was before the NBA draft and before Herb Jones signed the extension. They've got extension contracts on both Herb Jones and Trey Murphy, and I believe that they see him. No matter how much we pick on Joe Dumars as a GM and also the management before, was it Darryl Griffin? Was it Griffin? Yeah, it was Griffin. They see them smartly as a future and a basis and a foundation. So they will not be traded unless it goes off the rails going forward. Freedom Angel, if you send us a question, just can you rephrase that, copy and paste it in there again, because I only saw your Pat Riley comment. So if you could just send that in there and we'll go ahead and get it answered. But once again, it is the Lakers fast break. The Lakers do obtain Marcus Smart, or once he clears waivers, to a 2-year, $11 million deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. So we'll see how that works out for the team. Again, Joe, instantly it brings a point of attack defender, something we need along the perimeter, something we desperately need along the perimeter. Now the question is, how much does he play? I still think he'll be the sixth man coming off the bench. I think he'll interact with 4 and 2. I think LaRavia is going to try and be moved to either the 3 position, the 2 or 3 position, primarily playing along the wing as your guys coming off the bench. How much does this impact with the signings of LaRavia and Smart? How much does that impact as far as the minutes for Rui and Austin, which we've talked about so much? A lot is riding financially for those guys with this season.
Well, when Marcus Smart is right, he's playing 30 minutes a game. And LaRavia plays 20, 23 minutes a game.
Mm-hmm.
If LaRavia wants to take that next step, maybe he goes to 25.
Mm-hmm.
That's good. 25.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say if both Marcus Smart and LaRavia play 25 minutes a game, Rui and Austin are going to play 30 minutes at least. You have Luka, who's going to play probably 35 minutes at least, 36 minutes.
Uh-huh.
DeAndre Ayton is going to want to play 30 minutes a game. That now starts to eat away at LeBron's 36 minutes.
Uh-huh.
Let's say all those guys. Let's say all 6: LaRavia, Ayton, Smart, Rui, Luka, and Austin. If they all can take a minute away from LeBron, now LeBron is playing 30 minutes a game. Now you're enhancing the chances of LeBron lasting through the year and also have enough juice for the playoffs.
We will see. It's going to be very interesting, and I'm going to go ahead and try and scroll up to see what Freedom Angel was going ahead and talk about. But again, Marcus Smart is Rachel saying Luca is a better recruiter than Rob. Again, well, we all forgot about supply and demand. We're not forgetting about Thero, but he's a rookie who didn't play any time on in summer league. So you're asking him to come in cold and make a contribution. I don't count on Adu Thiero giving you a contribution this season, or at least this early part of the season. I mean, he's coming in cold to the NBA. That's a lot, Joe. That's a lot to take for rookie. Again, his knee issue, we don't know how serious it is. I mean, a lot of questions on Adu Thiero. I would not, anything you get from him should be counted as a surprise the earlier in the season it gets. If he gives you anything defensively along the perimeter, if in NBA games, I would consider that a pleasant surprise. I do have concerns about his shooting because his shooting from the college 3-point area is not great. And I'm being very nice when I say that. But again, as a defender, I'm not discounting him at all. But as a rookie, Joe, we've got to give this guy time, because he's coming in cold. He didn't even play a summer league, my friend.
There's not going to be enough anyways. So it's time for him to play, really, unless he passes someone, unless he outplays somebody like Laravia and Connect. Look, you got a 10-man rotation if going by what they have right now. So you have LeBron, you have Luca, Rui, Austin, Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent, DeAndre Ayton, Laravia, and Connect, and then Jackson Hayes backing up DeAndre Ayton. That's 10. So when is Adu going to play?
Yeah.
It's not enough. 10-man rotations are actually excessive. What you really want is 8 to 9, ideally, during the regular season. There's no room. He'd have to come out of the gate really like, oh man, this guy can dive well. This guy can set picks well. This guy can catch those alley-oops that Lucas can open up for him. He'd have to be that guy. I don't know if it's going to be easy like that for him.
Lakers fast break. Freedom Agent's question is, Joe and G, how would you guys feel if we trade Rui for Wiggins and add Jeremy Grant via buyout? Well, first off, you would have to trade more than just Rui because of I mentioned before, it's $28 million this upcoming season, so it'd have to be Rui and Gabe, or Rui and a Kleber going back in the deal, which I'm sure Riley wouldn't mind because it's expiring deal, because Wiggins is owed $58 million for the next 2 seasons, which again, that's a hard pill to swallow for someone that again right now is 15-point game player. Does play pretty good defense, but he is not the player that played in that championship structure. I think that guy is just not there anymore, but he is still a pretty good player in his own right. And Jeremy Grant, again, I just don't think you get the money work to work that out, Freedom Angels. So I don't think I think you would have to choose one or the other. Because right now, any more buyout guys, I think is really hard under this where the Lakers are at. They would probably have to go into the second tax apron if they wanted to. So, but we'll go ahead and answer the question. Let's just say if all these financial scenarios worked out, the Lakers could get Wiggins and Jeremy Grant. What would you think about that? Doesn't move the needle very much for me, but how about, does it move the needle for you, Joe?
Well, if you're getting Jeremy Grant on a buyout, sure. As far as Wiggins for Rui, let's say the main cogs in that, the only way that works is if Laravia replaces Rui, meaning the production. And he's a big boy, much like Rui. Can he shoot 40% from 3, and can he play good basketball like Rui did last year? Last year was Rui's best season in his career. Can he match that at least? And then you add a Wiggins, whom I'm not a big fan of.
But it, like you said, it does free your 2027 because that money would come off the books.
Correct. And if you're getting Jeremy Grant on any buyout, even if you're not making that deal, that's a
I'm
good
not giving
deal.
him picks for him.
Hell no. No. Matter of fact, if I'm the Lakers and they want Rui, give me a first. Give me a first. I would do that trade. As much as I don't like Wiggins' motor, he still can play defense. Now you just add another perimeter defender with Marcus Smart in case something doesn't work out. Now you're backed up on that on top of it. Now that's going to help LeBron even more. Now LeBron
Lakers have to get a first. Lakers have to get a first.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
But why would Miami do that just to get out of a contract in one less year unless they feel like they can get something next year? I don't know. I'd have to figure out why Miami would want to do that. Or maybe Miami gives the Lakers 3 or 4 second round picks. 3, let's say 3, not 4. Then it's like, now you can use those for trade pieces when you want to go and get somebody if you need them at the deadline, much like how they did with DFS.
Joe and Gerald fanboy. Guys, I just love how they just on the fly they make these profiles. Guys, I just put $120 down for the Lakers to win the championship to make $10,000.
That's a good bet. It really is. It's a good bet. 120 for 10,000. And if things fall in line, if everybody stays healthy in LA with their current contract, with their current roster, Luka goes ape shit. You know, it's not. There's been times when a singular player has taken his team to the NBA Finals. Matter of fact, Luka was the last one. So, and this team is better in my view than what Dallas was in 2024. And you got a better in shape Luka too on top of it. Hey, I think it's a great bet.
Jay, if the first were involved and that the Lakers were getting the first and the Lakers gave no picks back in the deal, I would be much more open to a Wiggins trade. But yeah, sitting on that $58 million for a guy that gives you, average production, good defender, average production offensively, it's kind of like, but if you get the first, because Miami's, as you see in years, they're all over the place. That could be a good pick. That could be like a possible fringe lottery pick when that year ever hits. Let's say it's a 28 or so for Miami. So that could be a fringe lottery pick at that point in time, Joe. So yeah, that would be a different story. I would say I would be much more inclined to do it if that was the case.
No, I would too, but I don't see Miami doing that.
Kai Jones, I believe, is still listed on the roster for Dallas as a 2A. He's not listed as a free agent. So, guys, again, Kai Jones, I wouldn't mind getting on a minimum contract here for the Lakers. But again, I believe, according to Sport Track, he's still listed as a 2A with the Dallas Mavericks at this point in time. So, I don't know. You guys go after players all the time that are on other rosters, and it's like putting so much energy into it. I always concern myself with that for you guys. No, Jeremy, I won't. I got things I have to take care of. I don't even know because I was going to go. I had other plans today, Joe. I was going to go check on the stuff for Tough. I'm going to have to do that tomorrow because the malls are about ready to close here in Las Vegas. So I'm going to have to go ahead and check out that information on Tough on that T-shirt. But it's a good reason the Lakers get Marcus Smart. And before we go today, which we're going to stay on here for a little while longer. Again, since we got such a great crowd, you guys are enthused. Whenever this goes down, Joe, the Lakers fan base always seems to be enthused. So I'm happy for you guys. I'm happy for us. We have a better team now going forward. Is that enough in your eyes, Joe, or do we need something more?
I think they need one more. Even one more impactful perimeter player. But this is pretty good for what they've spent, which is nothing. It doesn't make any sense to give up what they do have for something that could be the same, that have to get something better in return. And I don't know if there's a market for Austin Reeves that says somebody wants Austin Reeves and are willing to give the Lakers a better player this year so that they can take another step. This is gonna have to be something we assess as the season goes along. We don't know how long LeBron's gonna last this year, 100%. We have to see if DeAndre Ayton is gonna take his showmanship year seriously. Is Marcus Smart healthy enough to play? Rui and Austin are going to play their butts off because most healthy, getting ready to get their real big contracts. Rui had a big contract a few years ago, but this could be a bigger one. These guys are going to be playing their butts off. So the stars align in the common sense department in how these contracts are set. Everything tells you with your common sense that DeAndre Ayton, Austin Reeves, and Rui Hachimura are going to play their balls off. And I don't see any reason why anyone would think otherwise.
Yeah.
That in itself.
Tens of millions of dollars could be on the line.
And DeAndre Ayton already has a barometer to go to. Look what happened with Miles Turner. Miles Turner, I'm not going to say cost the Indiana Pacers a championship, but he didn't help. If Miles Turner played better, he could have possibly gotten Indiana to win that series before Halliburton got hurt if he had played better. We'll never know.
Yeah.
And he's still got a $100 million contract. He's still got a $25 million contract. He's still got a raise. So what do you think DeAndre Ayton is going to get? And he's younger than him, and in my view, better than him, and gets to showcase it with the Lakers. Even if the Lakers get to the Western Conference Finals and lose, that's still a benefit for him. He's probably going to get $30 million a year for 4 years out in the market, in the free market. So yeah, right now, looking at it from those scenarios, you have Austin, Rui, and DeAndre Ayton, who are going to be your three starters, too. These are starters that are going to be playing likely above their heads to get to that area. Then you have LeBron James, whom might have something in his own head to prove, even though it doesn't really. I think he's done enough, but he might have something to prove to say, hey, I'm going to play longer. Cool. I hope he uses that as a fuel. And then Luka's going on a revenge tour, by the way. For everything and everyone.
I agree with you. I really would make him, if an even better bet would be Luka winning the MVP. That I think would be, I think he's a top 3 candidate going into this season. And if you don't
Luka's
have
dropping 30, 10, and 8, and the Lakers have a 2 seed going into February, there's no way it's not going to be him, Jokic, and SGA. Basically going back and forth. And of course, there is a clear bias against the West Coast MVPs, especially the Lakers. So Luka's going to have to make it too obvious, much like how Kobe did in 08 and much like how Shaq did in 2000. It's going to have to be so blatantly different that they have to vote for him. Otherwise, it's going to be too suspicious to not to.
Once again, it is the Lakers Fast Break. Please, we got a great crowd today. If you get a chance and you have not yet liked and subscribed, please do so. I know that some of the guys, and this is funny, Joe. I know this will give you a chance to go off here in a second. If you get a chance, please like and subscribe. I know a lot of these Lakers insiders, because the fact that they're probably coming home from Las Vegas, because the Lakers summer season is over, or some of them are on vacation. I know Jovan Buha indicated he's not going to be on until tomorrow because he caught him on vacation. It showed nobody, none of these insiders had any inkling this was going to happen. I didn't. We discussed it. JSJ was saying that this was going to happen sooner rather than later. So I give JSJ more of an insider credit than anyone on this, because I thought this might be something that the Lakers would entertain after the buyout, after the trade deadline in February, that he would get bought out then for sure. CJ McCollum, Chris Middleton, they all probably will be, bought out by that time, if not sooner. So as we're seeing, this could expedite a buyout for those two guys as well. But yeah, nobody had any inkling this was going to happen, Joe. All those Lakers insiders looks like they got caught flat-footed once again.
I don't really know what to say about the prognosticators and the current media culture of the Lakers and the NBA.
Because we're not in that Lakers clique.
I will never be in that clique by choice, because you have to be fake. That's why I'm not in the corporate world as a middle management stooge. Middle management is, in my experience, the decimation of progress when it comes, and you see the results over the years of how bad it's gotten. And I understand the larger the company, the more you need people there. I get it. But middle management power is one of the worst things you can put on a business, in my view, because at some point, even if it's making money, something gets lost between the client and the person that started the business. And those guys in the middle are usually the issue. You have to be very thorough, like In-N-Out Burger or Costco to a degree. Costco is really good at, especially as big as they are.
I love Costco.
Their corporate
My
structure.
wallet doesn't love Costco. I love Costco, but my wallet doesn't. But yes, go ahead.
Well, the wallet at Costco at least is functional. You're not buying stuff at Walmart. You're not buying trash. You're buying things that actually you can eat usually, and things that a generator that, hey, you know what? Generators come in handy sometimes, and it's sitting right there. You're like, do I need a generator? Not today, but hey, the power went out a few months ago. It came in handy. Charging up the fridge so that the food didn't die, right? Everyone else is sitting there with their thumb up their ass. Does anybody have a generator? I can't get any at Home Depot. Well, maybe you should have bought one when you were passing by that aisle in Costco. Anyways, there isn't, I don't have any respect for most of the media out there, and the media has always been a bad thing for 100 years. It's not just now. We can't just blame it on today's media. It always depends on that person who says the wrong thing, and it pisses off the athlete or pisses off the fan base, or they're doing it so they can get the attention. But what has gotten worse is there's a censorship hate now, versus when before it wasn't censored. It was just a bunch of hacks just trying to do whatever, but it wasn't censored. I think there's a difference. We were talking about what's wrong with Dalton Connect. Can somebody say something within the organization? You don't even get that. No, well, it's private. Oh, what it's this, it's that. Well, how are we supposed to understand what's going on if we're watching somebody who's deteriorating when he shouldn't? Can we get a reason? Maybe the fan base can help. A little encouragement, something, a little pep during the game that might infuse something. I don't know. I'm just kind of trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And then ultimately, really what it is it's the kiss ass. It's the kiss ass media. It went from one extreme to the other. And to me, this is worse than the extreme. I'd rather you be called a hack when you're not. And I've realized this as I've gotten older. I remember Peter Vesey was a guy I didn't like in the 90s. And I look at him now and I'm like, well, Peter Vesey had a horrible delivery and had that condescending, patronizing type answer to things. But he would find out information about things, truths. And when he would say it, it would piss people off, but it was true. Now they lie, or they don't do shit, and they just kiss everyone's ass because they want their credentials. They want to be part of the popular group. You know, my favorite Sportsnet anchor, which is Allie Clifton. She's one of those ass kissers. She can get into all those places because she kisses everybody's ass. And she would probably hate me for saying that, but it's true. I mean, they brought her from Cleveland, right? From Ohio to be a LeBron stooge. Apologist. Am I wrong?
I'm not saying you're wrong.
You cannot progress, in my view, when you don't tell the person, as great as they are, as successful as they are, that they can't, that you can't lie to them and tell them, oh, you're doing all right, even when they're not. Now, in the end, it doesn't matter. He's already succeeded in life. He's rich. He's famous. He's got all the good things in life. Like it doesn't matter in his case. Michael Jordan, Charles Barkley talked about this. Charles and Michael's relationship, apparently, from what Charles said, broke up because Charles told the truth. I don't believe that with Michael, though. I don't think Michael's that kind of guy. But that's me on the outside. I guess Charles should be, probably telling the truth, and I don't know what the hell's going on. But to me, it sounded like that sounds like a weak thing for someone to do, especially someone like a Michael Jordan. I think it was a combination of things. I think that might have been the straw that broke it, because Charles, as good as he is telling the truth, he also says equally the dumbest things too that can aggravate you, because you can tell he doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. And he's successful too doing that because people like to hear him talk. And I'm sure I have some of that too. There's things that I say that people like, and there's this other side of the aisle that they hear me say, like, this guy's an idiot. What the hell is he talking about? What do you mean Kobe's not a leader? Except they didn't let me finish the sentence. Kobe is not going to hold your hand. Kobe's not going to do what Steve Nash did, what Dirk Nowitzki did, what Tim Duncan did. Hell, I think Michael Jordan was a nicer leader than Kobe in a lot of ways. Kobe was a one-focused guy. He got better as the years went on. I'm not going to say he didn't, but leadership, in my view, is just different. It's just different how I interpret it. Leadership, I think, there's got to be a connection to everything. And Kobe didn't have a connection to everyone. By his own words, he did not relate to the ones who didn't work hard. And unfortunately, when it comes to leadership needs to be connected to everyone. So what happened is there was a dual co-leadership during that time when Kobe was in his prime. He had Derek Fisher to be there to be that guy. And Kobe was the other leader in a more direct, I'll show you how to be a leader type guy.
CMB says I'm on my way. I'm backstage. And I'm like, funny, Joe. You and I don't see anyone backstage. But I'll tell you what.
And by the way, I like this. I don't. High school is an interesting lifetime for a human being. High school is the greatest prepper for the real world. I used to think it was college. It's not. It's not college. It's actually high school, because you're coming into your own. You're becoming mature. You're getting. I always say you start getting hair under your armpits. You start becoming a adult. That's the start, right? And you see a lot of the real world in high school. You don't see it in college as much. It's too big, right? High school, you see the popular kids. You see the stoners. You see I always call them the racists, depending on what nationality they were or what, and you saw that's real life. That's how the world kind of identifies, especially in America. It identifies with the bikers, the political people, the movie stars, And in high school, those were the preppy kids, the bikers or the cowboys, right? You know, like that's how everybody kind of click. That's how they clicked around, and how you dealt with that. If you dealt with it well in high school, you likely went into the real world understanding that the divide, the differences, and most people didn't. Most people don't because they were probably bullied or they were made fun of or they weren't made to look like they were important enough to be with the right crowd. And then, of course, on top of that, maybe they weren't as physically appealing at the time. There's so much of that in this, in what we're talking about. And how it correlates is I never cared to be with the popular people, even though I did end up being friends with a lot of them. But it wasn't due to, hey, I want to hang out with the most popular people. Again, at the end of the day, it was girls. I mean, the popular girls were beautiful. And how it played out as we got older into the high school is they were sought after by the senior boys when they were freshmen and sophomores. And then as everybody else ahead of us left, now they came back down to earth with their own, with the kids, with the men, with the guys at their own age. And here, it's actually the tribalism has gotten worse in sports because of the fact that there's so much social media, there's so much ways to bury a person's career. I mean, look at these two schmucks at the Coldplay concert. Their entire lives got destroyed.
The CEO resigned.
Yeah. And that was because of PR. That had nothing to do with the skill set. That had nothing to do with the relationship. It was PR.
Remember, we talked about yesterday human relations. I guess it's a people relations officer. I don't know the difference between human and people relations, but okay, whatever floats your boat on that.
Yeah, and what people think, you see that every day with all these gym bros and all these gym skanks. They're just constantly trying to tell themselves make money without really doing anything except going to the gym and yapping about fight harder and get through your this and get through that. How does that advance society? Entertainment is an important part of kind of a release, but when you start to hear about how there are certain areas in the country that are missing plumbers and welders and electricians. Do you know something? Do you know what I found out the other day, Gerald? The Navy is going to need like 500,000 electricians in the next decade. So there was a question that was asked. It was who was his name? What's his name? I always forget his name. Not the tool guy, but the guy that did the dirty jobs was talking about this. I forgot his name. Remember the guy that did dirty jobs? Mike, is it Mike something?
Mike something.
I don't know. You know who I'm talking about though, right?
Yeah,
Dirty Jobs. He did the show Dirty Jobs. So he informed these Navy people. They're like, well, where are the electricians? We need these guys. Mike Rowe. Thank you. So he said, your electricians are in 8th grade right now. Much like how nursing and the medical field 20 to 30 years ago was, holy crap, we need people in the medical fields. Everyone was going into occupational therapy, physical therapy, nursing. It's the same thing now with those positions. Instead of watching these guys try to go on YouTube and Laker channels. See, and that's always something I look at. I'm like, how many people have a podcast? Like, I feel like I'm just like them, right? But how do I differentiate myself and let our crowd know that we're not like that?
2009, when I started this, Joe, nobody knew what when I started a podcast, nobody knew what a podcast was. You had to explain to people what a podcast was. My, how the tables have turned 16 years later, Joe.
Yeah, I didn't know what it really was either. But in the long run, if this thing can't get done correctly, at least for us, organically, then it's not worth it to me to sell out who I am. It's always been like that.
I want to shoot it to you straight. Yeah. We're not going to always tell you things that you'd like to hear, but we're going to tell you from the heart how we feel. And sometimes it's the things that you guys need to hear. I think this is definitely a good sign for the Lakers. I'm not giving them the title just yet, but the $120 to get $10,000 bet, kind of interests me as well. Have to go take a look at my local odds here in Vegas as far as the NBA title odds to see if it swung anything in that direction. But don't even get me started on Anthony Irwin.
See, and that's what I'm talking about.
Ask him Supply to do a promo read. That is the hardest thing in life for him to do. But
so
Irwin's not an insider.
Promoting product.
He speculates and analyzes just like us.
Promoting product. I'm an observer. I don't like to call myself anything other than an observer and someone who's trying to, based off of my memory of things and calculations and being a tactician on what's going on, understanding the rules, understanding what's going on with the personalities of a GM, a player, a culture within that team. Those are the things that's how I look at talking about this. And I would have wasted a lot of this natural ability to remember this stuff and calculate in my head if it wasn't for a podcast, because I couldn't do it in the mainstream. I would not have worked out with a radio producer in a way where I didn't have somewhat of an equal ground with that guy. So what I mean by that is, if we're recruited to do a radio show, it's different than me moving to Iowa to do that job for 16 grand a year, which, by the way, I did have back in 2007. And I said, no, it's probably not going to work out that way. I have to move to Iowa, and I have to probably bounce around for the next decade like a schleprock listening to radio producers. I don't think my personality would be able to hack that. So now we come in with a little bit of control in production and control of being able to organically bring an audience to us. And then at that point, bring value before we are allowed to go in there. Hey, these guys are too powerful. These guys have too much interest to not give them an opportunity. I prefer, in my experience, whenever I've done it that way, whether it's through work, whether it's through personal stuff, it's always worked out for me. And that's what we're trying to do here. So when you talk about the Anthony Irwin's promoting stuff, so down to even the gear, Gerald, I told you about this. There's a lot of these companies out there now where they make clothing and they sell it on Facebook and all this social media. There's a company out of the UK called Ox Cloth, and they make those shirts that what I told you yesterday with Drip Show, with my my Drip Show shirt, tight on the top, long on the bottom, because I'm built very wide and I have a long torso. Most shirts that are sold in stores at the mall all are made for midgets. It's just, and they shrink even worse after one wash. And I'm not talking about some rinky-dink Spencer's store. I'm talking about freaking Ralph Lauren and all these high-end places. Like, these guys make the worst clothes in a lot of ways because they don't last. You wear them once, they look good. You wash them 2 or 3 times and they turn into garbage. They shrink. They bought the necks all bottle up. So now I have this company that I've sent a couple of emails to. I haven't had a response yet, but it says Oxcloth on it. The shirt is something I would wear. It just so happens to say Oxcloth. So I thought, hey, the correlation is perfect. If I'm going to promote Flamin' Hot Cheetos, which, by the way, I haven't had in a while now, I'm eating that. I'll eat it with a sandwich from Jersey Mike's. So if I'm going to promote something, I'm going to use it. I'm using it instead of sitting there. Oh, just go ahead and yeah, Drip Show. Yeah, wear Drip Show because they're cool. That's what you have to do when you start going corporate like that with the radio shows. That's a big part of why I didn't want to do it either. I don't want to be some advertising shell for some jerk off. If we're going to do that, it's got to be the right way. The right way for me is I want to be able to use it. In a lot of ways, I want to be able to recruit the advertisement. Now, Gerald will do what he does. This is me, guys. It's not Gerald. Gerald can do what he wants. It's his show. He can promote whatever he wants, whether he likes it or not. I don't judge anybody to doing that. This is just me. It's just me. Now, the Anthony Irwin irritation has nothing to do with him reading stuff. It's more of the fact that his information sucks ass. And
his delivery, it's just hard for him to do.
And his information sucks. I watched his show for 20 minutes. I wanted to throw up. Not because
when he did I'm just going to say this, Joe. When he did Locked On Lakers and he started doing read over, it actually, when he started doing reading promos, I turned down at that time companies that wanted to do voiceover reading promos because I was just so petrified after what I was hearing the way Irwin was doing it. And I was actually, if I was a company, I would say, how are you going to get business if someone's stuttering through all that stuff? And Irwin, he's gone on to make a good career for himself. So you got to give him kudos for that. But I don't see him as an insider. When he tries to give you that insider information and stuff like that, the only insider I know that there is Shams Charania. Everybody else is just a guessing game. The Ramona Shelburnes, the McMenamins, every one of these other guys, a lot of those guys still are on the outside looking in, even no matter how many days they spent in El Segundo, Joe. They are always still on the outside, in my opinion, looking at it. There's very few insiders, true insiders in this world. Like, in fact, we just had Supply and Demand saying the Lakers are working on a trade that's expected to send out multiple players, according to reports. And that may happen. But if your easy answer is just to let go of Goodwin and Milton, that would clear the cap space for Smart. What is the more sensible option right now for us to believe was what's going to happen, Joe? So just, again, these multiple reports and this stuff that always materializes and, that always comes out on Twitter and stuff like that. And just, you follow NBA Central or some of these other places that just blow stuff up out of thin air. It could happen. There could be a trade, Joe, that comes out of thin air that we don't see. But the thing is, nobody else will see it either. And I wanted to close my statements before I let you go ahead and talk about the Marcus Smart and this whole thing going on. Brian Windhorst, you want to talk about Allie Clifton, Joe, about, how she's a mark, as they say in the wrestling business, for LeBron. I mean, Windhorst, when he dies on his deathbed, has to go ahead and say the last words to be thank you, LeBron James, because he would not have had his career. If you look at his career, starting out with a local paper, following the high schooler James, seeing how he matriculated to the larger Cleveland paper and then to ESPN when LeBron moved to Miami, you have to go ahead and say to yourself, thank you, LeBron James. His career, a lot of it is based off of what he covered with LeBron James. So again, I'll leave it to you, my friend, on your final thoughts on that. But again, getting Marcus Smart is a win. Getting him on the cheap is a win. I think, again, if he stays on the court and stays healthy, it provides a great lift for what the Lakers need.
Well, the Brian Windhorst thing is the ESPN's ability to have a connection to LeBron without actually having apparently a connection to LeBron, according to LeBron. That's why he was brought to ESPN. It was the closest one.
And it's just so funny to see them have this tiff later in life, Joe, between LeBron just calling him out. And it's just so funny to see at this point in time in their careers, Joe. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's ESPN's just their ability to have someone that, even if he knows a little bit more, it's a benefit for them because the LeBron fans are going to tune in on ESPN and listen to Brian because he's from Ohio and he's followed LeBron from Ohio to Miami to LA, and there's knowledge there. I don't think he'd have the career he has unless he didn't have at least some knowledge of it. And he's not bad at his job. Wendy's much more right than he's wrong. And he's not a prick. He's not a jerk like I am. He could be. So that's kind of the sad thing about the whole LeBron thing with him. Like, really? You had to throw that at him? Why would you do that? Like, just, you've been quiet for 20 years and you had to throw that in there. Did somebody ask him a question in a certain way that made him defensive? He could have just said, look, Brian is from that region. He's been following the Cavs. I don't even know. Is Brian Windhorst a Cavalier fan? I don't know. I know I know Allie Clifton is a Toledo, Ohio.
Well, he still
native,
goes
right?
on Cleveland local radio a lot, I think. And
so he's a Cleveland guy. Yeah, he's a local guy.
I think he still lives in that area.
Okay, so he's a local guy. And I'm just going to say that because I don't know where he's born from. I guess we can do some research now on it. But if he's got a foothold over there, and it just so happened that his career took off because LeBron came to, and he was, essentially following LeBron at that time, and it made his career go up. Why not just say, because Wendy's never said anything negative about LeBron on top of everything. He's like one of the few guys that's never been derogatory towards him, and he took a shit on him. I thought that was kind of stupid. He could have very easily said, Brian Windhorst has been in Ohio since I was a Cavalier, and he's the guy that follows my stuff, but we're not connected. Instead of shitting on him. That's the stuff that's just the little things that I see that that bother me about him. It's one of many things. It's not geared towards him being a bad guy. He's not a bad guy. He's a good guy. He's a good guy. He's a funny guy too. But I don't know. I feel like he's got too much estrogen for a guy that big. And that seems to probably be an issue anyways with most of the people of his generation.
Uh-huh.
Too much estrogen, not enough testosterone for my taste. I mean, I'm not even looking at this, guys. I'm just going through my phone sometimes, and I have to look at a picture of Caleb Williams taking pictures with flowers in his ear. And nails painted. This guy's playing for the Bears, by the way. George Halas. I was thinking the whole time, what would Papa Bear think about this? I mean, you have these guys that are athletic freaks that are complete and utter pussies. And no one wants to call them out because they're worried about something else. What are you worried about? What are you worried about? It's weird. Why are you insulting a guy that's been giving you nothing but positive things? Why are you painting your nails and taking a picture of it? Shouldn't you be focused on the game? Like, you're a first round pick, you're a first overall pick, and this team hasn't had a quarterback since Jim McMahon, a real one, and he wasn't even that great. Sorry, Jay Cutler. If you had kept your head on straight, you probably would have been that guy. But yeah, it's I don't know where we're going to be in the end here, but I like that we have not compromised our ethics for it. We don't buy our subscriptions. We don't sit here for 15 hours straight talking about nothing with shitty production value. We have knowledge. We can talk the game. We'll be wrong. We'll be right. Sometimes overzealous. Sure, we get in the moment. I do. But in the end, it's real. It's real, and it's coming from a good place. It's not coming from a bad place. My insults to Rob Pelinka, my insults to Jeannie Buss come from an area no different than in my own life. If somebody in my friends pisses me off or does something stupid, I'm pretty much the same way. And guess what happens afterwards? We go and have a beer.
Well, I'll tell you what, though, what is clear is that if he's healthy, Marcus Smart should definitely give a boost to two things I've been worried about: perimeter along the defense and also the bench. So I'm very encouraged with that as the Lakers agree to terms on a 2-year, $11 million deal pending a buyout. And whether or not the Lakers are going to make a trade or just move on from Shake Milton they would have to move on from Shake Milton and Jordan Goodwin in order to clear that kind of money. We will go ahead and make sure it gets finalized, but we'll have a show tomorrow night. CMB, if you wanted to say you were going to come on, you can always email me, LakersFastBreak@yahoo.com. We're going to have a show tomorrow night. We were planning to anyways, so this will obviously be another great sort of discussion, but 3 hours of show for you today on a day we weren't even going to plan to. I had to delay my favor for Tiff. I was going to go ahead and get him a quote on the shirt, but I have to do that tomorrow. But Joe, it is for a good reason. It is for the fact that the Lakers, as of today, are a little bit better, and that's always a good sign. That's always good for the Lakers fans out there. It's brought some hope to a lot of people in the chat. They're now talking championship once again, and that's good. Whether or not you and I are buying all in on this, that's regardless. If it gives hope to our audience, that to me is most important. Any last thoughts on the way out, Joe?
Let it play out. Playing it out could mean waiting until the trade deadline. Once the trade deadline is done, then that will probably be when the Lakers really know how this is going to finish. But they've already improved the team greatly in roster, and then Luka being in shape and having an off season that extended a little bit more than usual is a huge help as well. LeBron James still has something to play for. Go ahead and win it this year, LeBron, with this team, and your title, your self-proclaimed title, now becomes a little bit more credible. So that's how I would pump up LeBron. I'm like, LeBron, you think you're the best of all time? Well, you gotta put in something this year, even though it's late in your career. You still got to put something in this. You win this one, even if you're not the MVP in the finals. In my view, you are now sitting next to Michael Jordan.
Jeremy's like, I don't like the swearing. I don't like the swearing because it was led to something else. In regards
I'm trying to scale that back, Jeremy. I really am, because we have some options here that are coming up, and it's going to be needed. And it's not a good look either. It's not a good look. It's a terrible look. It lessens it lessens class, the cursing. And I know that. I know that more than anybody. When I go off, I usually get upset with myself. But I'm in the zone. I'm in the moment. I do what I do. But I think it's best to not do the cursing. I think in the end, hopefully down the road, it's something that we make a staple here.
So if you guys don't like cursing, then I would suggest you not look at that 3-minute video I posted the other day on this channel with the challenge between Joe and John Costa in regards to one-on-one. A lot of back talk, back and forth there. But
and
I don't know
if it's in spurts of if it's something like that, then it's acceptable. But I think the show, I do agree that I think it should be cleaner.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's just better for everybody. And I'll tell you why I started thinking that. Empire Jeff was talking about how he had I think it was a teacher or someone that had a child that was with them, and she likes to listen to his show. So I was like, oof, what if there is somebody out there that has their kid in the car? It's tough because I can still articulate, I can still get my point across without having to curse. I could still be on fire without cursing. I know.
I have to, for people out there listening to this as on the podcast outlets, I have to put explicit or not explicit. I just think with not explicit, it gets you the possibility of reaching out to a broader audience. If you guys out there want us to be on public radio, if there's a radio station in your town, especially in the Southern California area, and you suggest us to them, we would gladly be interested. We'd obviously the language part of it have to tone itself down on that end. But that's something obviously we would look into and we're looking into as well. So again, if you like this back and forth between us, or if you like John and Joe going at it, or if you like Magic Man coming on here, or the Lakerholics coming on here, Legend coming on here, Stone Hansen, Alfred Esmond, all the great characters on this show being a part of what your daily routine should be like, go ahead and let that radio station know out there that you'd like to have the Lakers Fast Break. Tell them to get a hold of us here at the Lakers Fast Break, because we certainly would like to be a part of a larger audience as well. It does check it out, I think, but not as much as it used to. Check it out. It's interesting because there are a lot of top YouTubers out there that use language that still get a decent amount of sponsorships, but there are some sponsors who do stay away from individuals or individual channels that do have a high amount of cursing. So
no, it's also I'm also seeing a lot more trash on social media. It's just the promotion of, I call it horrorism. And I don't want to be associated with those shows, even though it's a completely different topic. I don't want to be explicit. I don't want to be in the explicit category. It's happened in the last few weeks. I've noticed it. Not our show, but I'm noticing the algorithms are gearing me towards this explicit shows, and I'm like, wait a minute. If it's just a stand-up, that's fine, but there's a lot of garbage that's coming to my stuff, and I don't want that.
There you go. As Kurt Affair says, everyone please smash the like button and tickle that subscribe button if you're new. Help the channel be a grower, not a shower. Ooh. Kurt, I'm telling you.
Being a grower is much more adaptable than a shower.
Kurt, I still think you should send your resume to Hollywood. You would be just, as a writer, right there, you'd be on it.
See, that's good. That's good, because a child doesn't know what the hell that means, but we all laugh. It's like listening to, it's like watching Back to the Future when you're a kid versus an adult. There were things that they said in the movie Back to the Future, which is a tame movie, right? It's PG-13, but there are things that are said in that movie when you got older. You're like, wait a minute. Oh, I didn't remember that during that movie. I don't remember him saying that. Yeah.
No, and I understand for a lot of guys, especially on the East Coast, it's no big deal because the kids are in bed, like ER was saying. But I would, as I've always said, like with the Cosmos that I do, the Pop Culture Cosmos, I was on, at one time we were on 75 different radio stations, smaller, either low power digital stations, but still on 75 different radio stations, and doing a lot as far as the podcast world on downloads, because it was a clean show that everyone could really look at, that didn't have any language throughout, and because it was going to public radio, and I just think it just makes it out accessible to the widest audience possible when you keep it clean like that. Whether or not you like it spicy or you don't, I'm just glad you're here, and I'm hoping that we can expand our audience even further. But that starts with you liking and subscribing, commenting, all that good stuff that they say helps the algorithms. And if you do that, I'm truly indebted to you going forward. If you want to become a member, it's $2.99 a month. And make sure you also like and subscribe as well. But yes, I just do want to thank everyone for stopping by for the past 3 hours and 18 minutes. Another long show for us. But Joe, greatly appreciate you stopping by on this impromptu breaking news show. I still got to get a graphic, Joe, and breaking news thing. But the last time I did that, YouTube copyrighted me, so I got to find one that they won't be pissed on. So that's like, once I do, I will get that. I will have to be, that's on my to-do list, is to get a breaking news vid to start the show. So definitely will go ahead and work on that. But it is, of course, Joe Sorrell along with me, Joe Glassford. Thanks again for watching and listening for a part of your Lakers weekend. Marcus Smart will soon be a Laker. How well does that make the Lakers line up as far as a championship run next season? We'll keep the conversation flowing on that starting tomorrow night, right here from all your friends at the Lakers Fast Break Podcast.